The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. We're recording on April Fool's Day, so shenanigans are inherently going to ensue. We also have a special guest this show and reminisce over the demise of Mad Catz. March is in our rear view, so I introduce my new April contest, which shakes things up a little bit. Destiny 2 gets a reveal trailer that I absolutely love. The other hosts, maybe not so much. We talk about some old school gaming and consider going full-on swearing. It should be a great f***ing show. You can find show notes for this show as well as previous shows on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 68. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter at z2z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, or at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or you can email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Today's show is brought to you by the achievement World's Finest from the game Injustice, Gods Among Us. Of course, Injustice 2 has been releasing a steady stream of new characters leading up to their launch this May. This particular achievement showed up on my personal random to-do list this month. I initially purchased this game to score those easy achievements in a game that has an eye for, of course, the gamertag challenges. Seriously, I have like 16 achievements and really haven't played a single part of this game. Now I am a little bit in the butt here because I have the most difficult achievement on my list, boasting a 10.5 TA ratio. This achievement is for getting 3 stars on all of the Star Lab missions. There are 240 missions in total. That's 10 missions for all of the 24 characters on roster. And each star requires you to do some different task to complete. For example, in Superman's mission number 6, 1 star asks you to survive 20 seconds against Catwoman without getting hit. Another star is to throw her 2 times. And the 3rd star is to get a 4-hit juggle combo. The nice thing is you don't have to do all of those in one try, but you do have to do all of those. So, if you are getting frustrated, just take a break. Keep at it, keep practicing, and calm down. It should get easier as you get better, but broken controller's not going to help you. Eventually, you might get lucky. Anyway, special thanks to developer NetherRealm and publisher Warner Brothers Interactive. And if you, our fantastic listeners, have a suggestion for an achievement sponsor, let us know. You can contact us Twitter, of course, at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D. Why don't you come chat with us over Discord, discord.me/Z2Z. You know, you could even leave it in a podcast or iTunes review post. So, with that being said, let's introduce my wonderful group of hosts. All right, everybody, we have an awesome show tonight. We're recording on April Fool's Day, so, I mean, you know, I hope, since this comes out well after April Fool's Day, you will believe everything that we have to say. Let me introduce my co-hosts this week. We've got, Randy's here, Randall Hatch of 123 Oakview Terrace, Syracuse, New York, 01534, Social Security number 104882727, born Friday, June 13th, 2001. Randy, how you doing?
2001.
I'm doing really great, actually.
He's 16.
No,
He's coming up on 16.
It's April Fool's. I know. I'm Rainy.
I hope that's your address.
It stopped. Well, of course it is. I mean, I gave it to you, didn't I?
All right. Big L's already on his way over.
It stopped raining almost. So, I mean, of course, that makes me extra rainy because it was raining all week. And on Friday, it was raining a lot, and I wore my rain cloud suit to work.
Nice.
What
your coworkers think.
This is a real rain cloud suit that's like a gray shirt, gray jacket, gray pants. It was fantastic. It was great, as Prue said earlier.
Nice.
So,
well, you can also hear because of work?
Yeah, I'm getting through it, though. I'm not tired today because I got to sleep in today. So
there you go.
It's getting better.
The benefits of recording on a Saturday. We also have Rural Water Woman. Tarragon, how are you doing?
What?
I'm Rural Water Woman. Literally the antithesis of your
I see.
gamer tag. Keep up with me.
Got it. All right, okay. Can we we'll do that bit again, okay?
Yeah, there you go. And we've also got Pro Lux, the #1 Battlestar Galactica superfan. How are you doing, Pro?
Joke's on you, Freem, because I love Battlestar Galactica, so I don't mind that joke at all.
He's a Space Trek superfan. You got it wrong.
Just loves all of his oh man. Anyway, and we have a special guest. You quite well known in the world of gaming. Mr. November. That's how you pronounce your gamer tag, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. Mr. November. Of course, it's Smrnov. Steve, how are you doing, Steven?
Not too bad.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I can only get the 1 month on the calendar of a month gamer score. So
yeah. Well, I always thought it was that because you just score so many points in November. Like, you got Mr. October for baseball, and you're just Mr. November, because everybody else is so sucked into Call of Duty.
That's right.
But
that's right. You go boost everything else.
So, fun aside, I know a lot of people out there hate April Fool's stuff, and actually, my neighbors, these little girls, came over to my house. Like, they're probably, they're friends with my kids, but they are, I think, like 10 and 7. And they come to my house with a tray full of frothy liquid. And they're laughing, right? And they're like, hey, we made you a drink. I said, I am not drinking that garbage. I don't know what you put in there, but it's not going to happen. And so then their little brothers, who are kindergartners, were like, oh, I'll drink it. And they got it and took a big mouthful. And it was soap water. I was like, you got to be a little more subtle with that. And then I had to go inside and tell my kids, literally do not do anything today. People are out there to get you to believe in something that's stupid. So I've got some things that you should believe in because they're stupid. Well, because I spent all day. I was laughing my head off with. Did you guys see the Google one? I know Google's always fun. They came back with their Pac-Man one again, so you could play Pac-Man on Google Maps. But they also did. I mean, they spent a lot of money and put together a promotional video for Google Gnome, which is like their Google Home, but it's for outside. And it looks like Google Home with a red cone hat, and you can just talk to it and stuff. Like, the video was pretty hilarious. Funny. I was laughing at it. The guy was like, "Hey, Gnome, is this compostable?" And it's like a styrofoam cup, and the gnome's like, "Well, actually, everything's pretty much compostable. I mean, even us, at some point, we're all just going to turn to organic matter." And it was super depressing, and it was pretty funny. We also, here, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. So if you're curious, Kotaku put together their favorites, and I'll just do a couple of my highlights. CD Projekt Red came out with the Witcher figurine of Geralt of Rivia taking a bath. So you get him in a tub with candles. Oh, it's just delightful.
Hot
stuff. Pokemon got in on the action with a new clothing line. Actually, it's an underwear line called the Machamps. And they feature Machamp in his, boxer briefs, looking very studly. Hearthstone has one where they have a character who came out that is some dude's wife. I don't know. Seems like an inside joke. Clash of Clans got into it, and there's tons of Switch stuff. One of my favorites is NVIDIA. They have the GeForce GX G Assist, which is actually a boost to your video card that's a thumb drive. You just plug that right into your thumbstick, and you get all of the graphical enhancements that you could ever want. It's just glorious. We've got Hitman has a fashion show, so you can now go into Hitman and walk the catwalk. And for some reason, the character that they dressed him up looks like Voldemort. I don't know if that was on purpose, but they're all over
Seems
the place.
legit.
And then and Rocket League, actually. Did you see Rocket League introduced a new ranking system? So this month for ranking, you start as unranked, and then you move to, I don't even want to say this, potato rank. And then from potato, you move to onion,
awesome.
then to corn, to broccoli, to radish, to purple cabbage, and you culminate in the grand eggplant.
I do want to say that at least Rocket League also recognizes
the grand
potato
aubergine.
Yeah.
as the lowest rank possible.
I wish they actually had the potato rank because I would keep that on as my signature forever.
You'd throw matches just so you didn't have them. And then finally, the last one I'll mention is Turtle Beach has an ad now for their headphone attachment. It connects to the earpieces, and it's a feed bag, so you actually never have to leave. You can just have this sack of food in front of your mouth while you game. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'd buy that.
They need a 2-sack system.
Non-April Fools related, I saw that I wanted to talk about this last week, but of course I missed the show. Did any of you guys watch the show Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Oh, sure.
You guys fans of that at all?
I haven't watched it, but I know of it.
I didn't know it was coming back, but there was big push for that, and so they finally released their trailer for it. And I mean, the trailer's kind of dumb, but I love that show. I'm so excited to see it come back. I hope the writing can come back, because that was always the thing. Once Joel Hodgson left, and it was Mike and the rest of the writing team that was left was like, okay, that wasn't as good, but
it's got Patton Oswalt and Felicia Day in it. The new version.
Does.
So how can it not be good?
I always
really,
thought though that like that kind of stuff was I didn't care for the side gags and stuff. I didn't think they were ever that funny.
Yeah, it's mostly when they're in front of the screen actually watching it and stuff.
Okay, real show time, guys. Real show. It is April. Obviously, April Fool's is on the 1st, so we've got a slew of new contests. I will recap all of the fun stuff at the end of the show. I just want to make a reminder to everyone, put in your submissions for all of the contests that wrapped up in March. Make sure you go to the forums, post what you did. If you did some things in Mass Effect, let us know. If you finished my gamer tag, let us know. If you did any achievements, seriously, look, I'm sure you have some team that showed up in the NCAA tournament. It was, if you don't have 3 achievements that are an S, an M, and a U, then you really weren't playing, because you probably almost accidentally got those, and that's 5 entries right there. So super, super easy to get those. We did get a posting for, I know M. Surin's been behind on his, he's been super busy, but he got out the February winner, and so I want to congratulate Kreptor 5291. He had only 5 entries in the February Mokos, the From Poland with Love month. He only had 5 entries in that. There were 430 total, so he only had a 1.2% chance to get that prize and nailed it. See, it just takes 1 entry, guys. So don't forget to submit into the contests. If you're curious about the upcoming contests for April, I will, like I said, recap those at the end of the show. But man, we got a ton to get to this week. So let's lead it off with our wins of the week. I'm going to save Mr. Smirnov for the end because I think he's got a decent one. Let's start with Tarragon. Not to say yours is the worst, Tarragon, but you're at the top of the list. What do you got?
But it's actually the worst.
Yeah, it's not saying it's the worst, but it's actually the worst.
It's the worst.
Well, basically, my win for the week was getting some very, very last-minute unlocks for the random to-do list and doing the best I've done in the random to-do list so far, which is to unlock 12 achievements. So I was pretty happy with that, but I managed to in the hours before it rolled over, I got zombie destruction in Dead Rising 2, which was not terribly difficult, but just takes a bit of time. And I didn't realize how close I was to Troll Wrangler in Stickman. What's the Stickman game? Epic Stickman or whatever it is. I was literally... Yeah, I literally had the level that achievement was in. Like I'd literally just gotten to that the last time I had to do this, which was probably for the random to-do list as it happened. So that was like literally a 5-minute one that I didn't realize I had. I got that in just at the end and got 12 and managed to pip Chin Doctor at the post. So Chin Doctor's hasn't been working as hard on these random to-do lists this month, so I was able to beat him. Yes!
Take that, Chin Doctor.
Yeah, and I also beat you, Crandy, by a few points. So
yeah, I also had a very good month in Random To-Do List.
You did.
Also
you did.
my best.
Nice work.
Yeah, so that was my win. I was pretty happy with that. So, Randy, did you want to...
Is that your win, Randy, or you got something else?
No, actually, I have something I did this morning. I've been working on it for the last month-ish. Well, maybe not quite that long. The last while. I finally finished all of the Guitar Career on Rock Revolution, which was terrible. That game is so bad. It's unreal. Like, it blows me away how bad that game is.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it on last show. It's really as hideous as you remember?
It's worse than I remember. I actually remember it not being this bad. I think mostly because I spent the most time on drums. I didn't really play much guitar. Drums are much better than guitar. There's a few reasons for that. I mean, they're both terrible. But mostly because the challenges on guitar are just, they're not... The biggest flaw for me in making me... I do have the EU version of this game. I don't think I'm ever going to play it. I thought I was, but unless I start chasing the music leaderboard, which I don't really plan on doing, I don't think I'll ever play the EU version. And it's just because I don't want to redo the Guitar Career. The challenges are so bad because there's these challenges where you have to play back a section perfectly without notes. So like it just gives you a line where the notes would be. So like you know where they are, but you don't know what they are. So on drums, it's much easier to remember what it is, just kind of because drums so naturally
there's a rhythm
translate.
to it.
Yeah, there's a rhythm to it, and it translates much more easily because you could have maybe eight things on your drum set, like your cymbals and your snare and your toms. But the guitar, I mean, how many notes are on a guitar? You're translating that to 5 buttons. And there's kind of no real consistent translation. So you have to remember this, and it's impossible. You can't do it. So the way you end up having to do it is look at a video on YouTube of the notes, match it up
whilst the challenge is playing.
Whilst the challenge is going, and then you unpause them both at the same time and sync them up, and then play and hope it syncs well. So that's annoying as it is. And then on top of that, to even get an attempt at doing one of these challenges, you have to play through it twice. There's no way to skip it, so you have to play through it with notes twice that don't count. They're just practice. Then you get one shot, and if you don't make it that shot, you have to do the whole thing over again. You have to play those 2 sections again, then you get one shot again. And it's like, what if I just want to play that last section? I don't want to play this section twice. At least fortunately, you don't have to hit it those first 2 times. You can just let it go. But it just makes these challenges take excessive amounts of time and just be overly frustrating for no reason. They're not fun. The voice acting is terrible. There's this like announcer guy who just insults you through the whole thing and just it's like monotone. He's like, wow, we really need to live and breathe this part. Let's get this time. Oh, what do you call someone?
Read this in an exciting. Oh, I'm not supposed to read that, am I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What do you call someone who hangs around musicians? You. Like, it's just like
what?
Ooh.
Yeah,
jokes.
That's when you do really bad. That's when you do really bad. That's what he says, or something like that. So that's really bad. I mean, the game is bad in general, but that in particular is really what makes me never want to play it again. On top of the terrible, terrible cover, like not, like Guitar Hero 2, the covers were pretty good. I mean, you knew they were covers, but they weren't bad. Rock Band 1, same thing. Like there were a few songs that you knew were covers, but they weren't terrible.
So in short, you didn't like it.
No. And it's not done yet either. I've still got to do the multiplayer. And there's one more note, as I'm pretty sure, I'm going to have to double check this, but there's a cover of the Metallica version of Am I Evil, which I think was a cover that Metallica did. I might be mixing that up.
It is.
So it's a cover of the song, and I'm pretty sure that they just took the guitar solo from the Metallica version and stuck it in to the cover that was recorded for the game. And I'm going to have to go back and listen to this to confirm, but the audio volume changed and it was too good. So I'm going to have to confirm this, but I suspect. So that's my long-winded win of the week. Rock Revolution's terrible.
Nice. What about you, Prue?
Terrible game.
So my win is actually not pulling a Freem because I got both Marathon and Strive for Perfection in Microsoft Solitaire Collection. So that's my 1 month, I don't know why I picked March, but I did, of getting every single challenge done and never skipping a day as well. So I was excited about getting that done. Now I just have to play it for the rest of the year to get the rest of the stupid medals, unfortunately.
Right?
Yay, boo.
At least you can play it on Android, though. That's the nice thing is it's much easier to do that now, that you can play it on your computer or your phone and not just be restricted to your computer.
Yeah, that's right. That just ticked over, didn't it? So yeah, you can start.
I didn't start playing until the Android version came out.
Same.
So I got my gold for last month and stopped playing it, so I can start playing it again now.
There you go.
Yeah, just switched over. Just like random to-do list, it just switched over.
My win of the week, and I don't know if it was this week or a little bit of last week. It's sometime in the most recent past. I got my gamer score up past 150,000. So I think I just passed 100,000 a little bit ago. I'm at 150,000, just climbing. I think I said I wanted to get. Did I say 2? I didn't say. There's no way I'm going to 2.
I'm pretty sure you did, because I remember it being really thinking.
That's obscene.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, 150,000.
I mean,
so
it's only April, so you got some time.
There you go.
No one could possibly top you in this win of the week.
That's what I'm saying, right? 150,000 gamer score, right? So, Smrnov, what's your win recently?
Actually, mine wasn't this week either, and it was about 10 times yours.
When you say about, you mean literally.
Yeah. Last week, I did manage to get my 1.5 million gamer score goal.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it didn't quite go to plan. I initially had planned to make a completion of BioShock as part of the actual 1.5 million itself. But between me trying to merge runs on one of the challenges and not realizing you could go from medium back to easy and back to medium, and then the one for all the collectibles actually not popping, even though I collected everything. I kind of had to juggle a few other achievements in there and didn't quite get the completion the way I wanted to. But I did land on the achievement I wanted, which was seriously good at this.
Nice. That is awesome.
Not that I like to toot my own horn, but I thought that was a pretty well-named achievement.
That was well done. Well done, sir. Man, 1.5 million. That's insane. Have you done any stats on breakdowns on how much you score on average in a month or any of that?
No, I mean generally I try to shoot for at least 20 in a month. But some months are more, some months are less.
I bet there's a guy on this show who loves data and would do that for you, because I don't know who that is, but he would.
Well, the numbers are all out there. I just in my own internal tracking, I try to. That's the ballpark
awesome.
I usually go for. Yeah.
Well, let's. Congrats on that. That's great.
There's also probably this website that allows you to do all that stuff.
There's a few things like that. There's a few things like that.
We might be involved with that a bit. Yeah.
We should talk about that website. By the way. There was some news this week on that website. Tarragon, you want to talk about what is now in play?
Hooey, yeah. Multiple genres are a thing now, so games can have more than one genre, and this has required a major revamp of how leaderboards and the back end of the site and all sorts of stuff. It's a very complicated change that's taken a long time for them to sort of build, and I think they went down a bit of a rabbit hole and did what's called in the business is yak shaving, where you find one problem and you need to go and do another thing to fix that problem, but then you find another problem on that one and you need to go and fix that, and by the end of it you end up finding that you're shaving a yak to get the yak fleece to put in the pillow to put in the thing. Anyway, it's a thing. Yeah, so I suspect they ran down some pretty big rabbit holes with the way the data was set up, and they've had to rebuild the entire site leaderboards, but they're back, and nice. Some people are not happy. So
wait,
I guess
the internet's
we'll see.
not happy? Come on.
Yeah, I know, right?
Happy with TA leaderboards ever.
So I think some of those genres are causing a bit of consternation for some people, but that's nothing particularly out of the ordinary. But the thing is that now you can register your disagreement with those and trigger off a vote. And there is also a new team being set up, or has been set up, to handle or basically sanitize genres so that silly things don't get through, or that games that are stacks don't end up with different genres, even though they're exactly the same game and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's still some work to be done there, but for the most part, the leaderboards are back. Stephen, I think you had some comments about the app stuff. That's happening with the
I track my completed games pretty closely. I mean, even independent of TA, I keep my own list just in case. And I was noticing the count was off a bit, and it looks like the 0-point apps that I had completed, which were unintentional, realistically, were being included. I mentioned that on the board. TA pretty quickly responded that the next build's supposed to clean those right out. So the 0-point apps were, I think, just, if not an oversight, just kind of got pulled in with everything else, or with the underlying changes.
And I saw somebody else was saying that they had more completions on the leaderboard than they did in their own list, and I think there might be some double counting with games that happen to be the same list on multiple platforms. So if you've got like a game that's say Microsoft Solitaire is a good example, where it's available on various different platforms with the same list. And if you've completed one, then you get 2 completions on that leaderboard. I think I've seen that particular bug happen before, so I suspect that's what's going on. There's still a few little glitches to iron out, but all in all, it's a vast improvement, I think, from what was there before.
And DLC counting. Sorry, DLC counting isn't quite working either. If you have
Yep.
Gotcha.
So there's a few little.
The real way to count completions isn't always the default. So.
I agree with you there.
I'm on your side too. Is the biggest, most vocal complaint in regards to people on the leaderboards saying, I was number one in platformers, or I was number one in puzzles, and now you mucked it all up, and now I'm not, kind of thing? What's
now I have to complete more games.
To be honest, the complaints that I've been seeing have never really been that clear, so I'm not really sure. And it's I
don't like it.
I don't like it, because why? It's exactly the same as it was before, except it's got a few different things. Yeah, it's things like that. And I'm going, what?
I think this is much better, and it's gonna do more to future proof as well, because it could do everything the old system did and more. Like, it's not removing anything. You're just
exactly. And the only thing you come to complain about is that some games may have some silly genres at the moment, but that's something that can be cleaned up. And I think people are kind of missing the point that you can change this. You can go in there and you can say this genre is wrong, and it will get cleaned up. So, so I think people just want it all the way that they want it right now, and they want it all to be correct right now. And if it's not right now, then it all sucks.
It's not there's 5,000 games or something that need to be dealt with in terms of genre.
But to Frame's point, I do think there are people who take the time to try to be number one in something. Because again, I mean, if you're late to the Gamerscore game, right, there's not as many buckets to be number one in something for. I mean, just that's the way it is. And there are the people who had spent that time to try to do that, and it did shift underneath them. So I can understand their confusion. I mean,
I just didn't know if that was the most of the people, or if it's just people being dumb. I mean, there's a guy on this show who, for some reason, is trying to keep the potential for a 100% completion on Xbox One. So, I mean, right? That's
like what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're the person.
Oh, hey, Randy, what are you doing? We didn't see you there.
But, I mean, that is your personal goal, and as ridiculous as I think it is, it's important to you. And so, to each their own. And if someone's like, you know what? I'm going to be number one in Windows Phone games that start with W. It's like, okay, good for you. Like, go nuts.
Is there a leaderboard for that?
Yep. So, anyway.
Yeah, it's like being top of the completion leaderboard. That was easy. I just got one account and loaded up Avatar on it. Top of that board. Yes.
Yep, right.
Equal first.
Because there is that board out there, and have they moved up the minimum requirement at all on there? Because it was like, to be on that leaderboard, you needed a minimum,
settings.
a minimum number of.
Actually, I think that's one of the settings that's missing at the moment that they're going to restore, which is the
over 100K.
There's the basic leaderboard, and then you can filter it by people who've got X amount of gamer score, like 10,000 or 100,000 and that sort of thing. So there are those filters.
And typically with those completion ones too, because I kind of follow the Windows Phone one, because not only do I try and keep 100% on Xbox One, I also do Windows Phone and Windows, because those are all platforms I started when I became a strict completionist and I didn't have old garbage clogging up my numbers.
Right.
So with that one, it's based on your completion percentage first. So if nobody has 100% and you have one completed game and that's it, you're going to be there. You're going to be number one. But after that, it goes by number of achievements unlocked. So like the top guy has 100% and like 3,000 achievements unlocked or something. So that's still, it's not just like you can't just make an account and be number one. I mean, you'll probably be in the top 50, but you're not going to be number one.
That's good. I mean, I like that. I think those are pretty important distinctions. I don't know why you haven't started a new gamer tag just to, with all their doctoring. Why you don't have Randy 2828?
I completed.
You can get Graw again. Yeah. Start over.
I have too much. And I don't want to. So it's like I don't want to lose my history either, because I mean there are games I played, there are games that I put on my tag that I unlocked achievements in on my tag, and I can live with 4 or 5 games I can't complete, but just going forward I'm not going to intentionally put games on there that I can't complete. I mean I do have my other tag too that I would play those games on. It's just going forward I don't want to just have more mess that I'm never going to complete. It's just
that's fair. That's fine.
I can live with.
Yeah. So we're kind of opposites. I'll just put everything on my tag.
Yep. Because you're going for number one games played, right?
Well, I'm trying to get up there. Yeah, I'm aiming for number 5 on the Australian board for that. I'm only about 20 games behind. So
that's not too bad.
But Montana's about 600 games ahead of me, so it's, and he's at the top of that list, so it could be a while. And certainly,
what's the number one overall for games played?
Number one overall is
almost everything.
So somebody, I think it's Matt DB87, I think, and he's over 3,000 games. I mean, he might even go over 3,300 games or something like that.
Wow.
So that's almost everything, and he pretty much starts everything as soon as it comes out. If you watch his feed, it's like, oh, there's a new game. Oh, he started it already. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just crazy. We should also touch on another millionaire who joined the prestigious ranks of Smirnov here, Sangrias. He has hit 1 million gamer score and 1,000 completions, and he did it with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Special Edition. That is brilliant. He's also the first millionaire in Asia. So there you have it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere we don't have any millionaires in Antarctica, right? That's still up for grabs.
No.
Or the moon.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's one in New Zealand.
Yeah, Africa's probably up for grabs too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a Brazilian?
Yeah.
Is a Brazilian millionaire? Okay. South Africa?
That's Arnaldo is in Brazil.
Was somebody in South Africa? You got it? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. It's
there's no one that lives in my apartment that has hit that number yet, so I'm crossing my fingers. I'm really hoping I can get
you might be able to get that first. Yeah.
He's close. I think he's at 20,000 or something. So I'm really pushing ahead.
So I think your trouble there will be whether you'll still be living in that apartment by the time you hit 1 million. That's
a good
living
point.
Period.
Sorry, I was going to say in the apartment. Was that necessary? Or?
Yeah. So we got this newsfeed item from Saucy Slingo. This was a few weeks ago, but I feel like we have to touch on it.
This one's it's the long-standing question that we always ask.
So, remarkably, of course, big in the United States here, there was a Supreme Court appointment by President Trump, and so he has to go through this grilling, right, where if it's whatever party is not in power, they just ream the dude, and if the other party, if they're on the same team, quote unquote, they throw the dude softballs. So one Republican senator from Arizona, Mr. Jeff Flake, asked the nominee,
Neil
Gorsuch, he asked the horse-sized duck question because his son told him to. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? What's unfortunate is the dude's answer was stupid. He didn't even answer it. Come on, he laughed it off and did something dumb. But anyway, it happened. It happened in the Supreme Court appointment
Remember,
process.
we don't have anything important going on that maybe we should be worried about instead of duck horses, but that's okay.
I mean, yeah.
Come on, Prue. These are important questions.
He said, you can tell that I'm rarely at a loss for words, but you got me on that one. Just say something. Is PETA going to get mad because you picked... you'd rather murder 100 duck-sized horses? Is that?
Well, to be fair, I mean, think about it. What if he gets appointed, and then 10 years down the road we have the big duck v horse case, and he can't come out early with that kind of stuff. He's got to be careful.
He's got to consider all the parameters, get all the evidence.
He could recuse
sit
himself
on it for at least 3 years.
Duck v class action horses. I mean,
Okay, fine. You found the loophole. That doesn't work. There's just been so much news in the past couple of weeks because when Prue, by the way, you did a great job hosting. I didn't give you props for that. I really liked that. So nice work. Did you listen back? Did you enjoy it? How did you think you did?
I haven't yet, but I am planning on it.
Okay.
No, I really am. April Fools.
Yeah.
April Fools. No,
I totally believe you too. I totally believe you. Right. If you can't see, I've got my hand in a circular pattern, and I'm moving it up and down. Yeah, that's
as if he was cleaning some sort of a pipe. I'm not really sure what he's insinuating here, but
that's right. I totally believe you. Anyway, so we kind of pared it down. We just got a few pieces of news here, but come on, you guys. You know what I want to talk about? The Destiny 2 release trailer. Oh my God, man! Pre-order. Seriously, I did almost pre-order. Well, this is what I was weighing with
when it comes out.
Because Best Buy is offering me $10 as a gift card, and I get Gamers Club unlocked. So it's like a $35 game, which I'm going to buy day one anyway. Now the downside is it's physical.
Okay, I was going to say so I'm not going to get it. Is that what you're saying?
I passed on it because I said, you know what, I'm going to let Tarragon play it, and so I will. And that's the other thing, because if I do buy it physical, then I pick it up at midnight, and I've got to download it. I won't even get to play it that night.
Just FYI, I actually don't plan to play it, so go get it physical.
Your face. You will totally play it. I mean, I guess that being said,
it's going to take you 20 minutes to install off the Blu-ray. It'll be done installing off the Blu-ray before the day one 20 gig update is done.
I was going to say the download. I probably won't be playing it day one anyway because the server's going to fall apart. So
the servers are going to fall apart. There's going to be a giant update.
Missing a story.
Fine. You'll be fine.
Whatever.
I'm looking forward to. I got kids in my backyard here. I'm looking forward to the.
Are they yours?
Walking stick?
Should you do something? Or
I think because it's Saturday night, the weather's pretty nice.
Here comes old man Freem. Get up
I should probably take my pants off and go out there and tidy whities, right? And shake a rake at them or something.
Hang on a second. You have pants on? That's not how we do this podcast.
You need to go like a. You need to get a mask or something. Cover your face, take your pants off, and just go outside and stand there. Don't say a thing. Don't look at them. Just stand.
Just maintain eye contact.
Right
now, this is going to put me into story time. So it's good.
You have a story about this. So I can tell.
Weird transition, but it's kind of related. It'll make sense. So this was a few years ago. It was 3 a.m. or something. And I was back in the old country. I was walking there's a 24-hour truck stop that I would frequently walk to in the middle of the night because there's no one around. It's good for snacks and goodies. This is the same truck stop where we went and played board games like crazy people.
That's right.
So we're walking there. I think it was like me and my friend or something. And there's this guy, just like, it's kind of, there's like a highway and then there's like a suburb. So there's like this guy who's just like standing out on his back porch with a garden hose turned on. Keep in mind, this is 3 a.m., totally dark. And he's just standing there. He's not like watering anything. He's just holding it, like watering the ground in front of him. And just standing there. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced.
Was he wearing a clown costume by any chance?
See, if
it just
he
sounds like one of those creepy clown things.
It almost would have been less creepy because he's just like a normal dude, just like standing there with the garden hose, not really watering anything at 3 a.m. Like, I don't know. And it's not like there's anything to look at. Like, it's just the road. Like, he's just like up on a hill looking at the road, holding a garden hose.
His red lipstick all askew, and his
see that
red clown afro just slightly tipped.
No clown. It's too he was too normal looking to be doing something that weird. It was weird. So that's what you gotta do. You just have to
could be weird.
Just go out and just stand there, and they'll never come back.
Yeah. Well, it turns out I'm recording a show, so I should probably get back to it. What I wanted to say about Destiny is what I loved about the trailer was it was that great mix of, and for those of you who haven't seen it, the great mix of comedy and seriousness. And they used the Nathan Fillion Cade 6 character, and he adds such a good levity to it that it was like a funny way to tell us, by the way, everything that you did in Destiny 1 is gone. Like, don't think you can carry anything over. It's all gone. And, like, the way he presents it is super funny. And so it's like, hey, I don't feel so bad, right? Let's start over. It'll be great. So I'm really looking forward to this.
How do you feel about that, by the way,
friend? I actually do feel fine about it. I mean, it's unfortunate that everything I've built up and I think the most important thing I want is just my character, like the one I see. And so I know I've been told that is going to be able to move over. And so, even though it's like just stupid cosmetic garbage and they're supposed to have many more.
Well, the thing is that you don't actually see it. I was actually really surprised. I went and played a little bit of the Taken King stuff, and there was actually one shot where you're in a spaceship, and it's like, who's that character? That looks really familiar. Oh, that's me. That's my character. Oh, it's just you never see your own character in the games. It's really. Like it's this purely cosmetic thing that you do at the start of the game, and you create this character. It's spend all this time in the character creator for a thing you never see because it's a first-person shooter. So
but you can you can take your helmet off when you're in the tower. Like I have my helmet off in the tower, so. But you're right. You typically don't see it.
You're just looking at the back of your head most of the time as you're running around. So
it moves into third person. Anyway, that being said, so yeah, I'm really excited about it. Anybody else? Prue, is there any way we could possibly get you to play this game?
We'll see. It's funny that you mentioned the tone of the trailer because that's actually what stuck out to me. I remember Destiny being very, very, very serious and taking itself super seriously. Like there was no humor in it, essentially. So to see that trailer where it was like half having fun and then half super Destiny-ish was actually kind of interesting to me.
It's refreshing. I think they took a lot. They really understood the successes of Taken King and having a story with a big bad, right? I mean, because this trailer is like, here's the big bad. Like, this dude came to your house, wrecked your crap, and you got to go get him. And it's like, awesome. Now I have a reason to do this. I think that's the key. Hey, Steven, is Destiny on your completion list?
I've played some Destiny. No, it's not a completion for sure. I started the game a little bit. I've had a lot of friends who go through and say, hey, you should come here, you can do this, I can drag you through this or whatever, and I'm just not quite there yet. My time sink is Neverwinter, so I don't have time for Destiny. But
yeah.
I'm just wondering if Nathan Fillion's speech in the trailer is like the only voice acting he's going to do for the game, like Peter Dinklage, and just you're never going to hear from him again, and then
he shows up a lot, actually, because he recorded a ton for. They didn't get him for the Rise of Iron, but he did a ton for Taken King, and I think because of that success, they're. But I'm looking at like everything that dude is in.
He replaced the entirety of Dinklage's regular stuff in the game, though, didn't he?
No, that's Nolan North.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nolan North re-recorded all of Dinklebot, but Cade 6, Nathan Fillion, he is a different character in the game, and he is one of the driving narrators to the Taken King experience. And then they kind of got, in the Rise of Iron, they got this dude named Shiro, another Guardian guy, and they wanted him to be Nathan Fillion, but like he's not. So it's like if I was doing a Nathan Fillion impression, like that would be who it was, and it's like, come on, guys, like this isn't right. So they tried, but that was kind
Fillion, if you're not Nathan Fillion.
No, right. Anyway,
well, I played it early when it came out, and it was just like, okay, I got this voice for a little bit, and now I'm just running around doing stuff that doesn't really seem to matter. That's kind of early Destiny.
That's
early Destiny.
That's pretty
days,
much
right?
Destiny.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of stuff that doesn't really matter.
Right. Let's move into some sad news. Randy, do you wanna do this one? Or do you not know enough about it?
Which is this the?
This is your favorite
one?
company.
No.
Right next to Volition.
See, I read this. I was a little too happy reading this.
Did you say good riddance?
Own the series.
Harmonix lays off 17 staff. That's the headline. I don't know anything else about it. Now, I'm sorry to the 17 of you that worked on that terrible project and will never have a job again. But
they're all blacklisted now. Is that what you're telling me?
Just like, they worked on that.
I see. I see you have 20 years of game development experience, but you worked on Rock Band 4?
No. What they actually say is there's this big gap on your resume. What were you doing between here at Harmonix between these years? Oh, I don't like to talk about that.
We were forgetting how to do everything related to Rock Band. That's what we were doing. I don't really know anything else about that, but that's my little take on that.
Nice. Brilliant. Well, yeah, sorry to hear about that. Actually, this kind of reminds me, and this is, I'm going to switch topics here in terms of just being really serious, is on our Discord chat was What the Fudge. He got laid off from his job. So I just want to say, hey, dude, anything we do to help, I know our thoughts are with you. Good luck on everything. I hope wish you the best. Randy, if you got any job hunting tips, man, you've been doing it for about 8 months, right?
It was like a long time. I mean, I don't know if what I was doing was working, but I mean, I can give tips of what I did.
So then you can do the opposite, right? It goes faster.
Anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's just where I live because, I mean, it kind of sucks here. So
all right. So Fudge, good luck. I'll come back into news and recommend that you do not look for a job at Mad Catz. Something tells me they are not hiring right now. They're actually probably doing the exact opposite. Mad Catz is voluntarily filing for bankruptcy. Turns out they lost a lot of money on Rock Band peripherals. Go figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a few friend feed questions
for. Things are coinciding.
A few friend feed questions.
There might be a reason they put those two things together in the news.
Yeah.
I went and posted a bunch of pictures into the forums on what I think of Mad Catz when I hear that name. Of course, they had done all the other peripherals, but prior to the music genre, right, they were making controllers, really. That was almost predominantly what they were doing.
A lot of fight sticks as well. But I mean, you're not going to really know about that unless you're big into kind of the fighting scene. Yeah. They actually I have a couple myself, and it's a real shame because their design was really good. Like what they had in mind was really well done and really nice, but the build quality was terrible.
Oh, just dreadful.
Like they used like the cheapest switches in the buttons. I wore out two sets of A and B buttons playing through Rock Band Blitz on a fight stick, which I mean, I would expect to get like 1 million button presses or something out of a cheap switch, and I probably didn't press it that many times. So it's just like, I don't know, maybe that's too much to expect, but they use cheap parts and then You have this nice case that's designed really nicely, filled with garbage parts, and it breaks down in a month.
Yeah,
So,
and I guess that's the thing is they probably had to do that to try and keep costs down as to make them viable or something that people will look at as an alternative to, say, buying a real controller like the first-party controllers.
Right.
So they needed to do that in order to keep the costs down, and as a result, the overall hardware suffers.
The other thing, too, though, is like this is when they weren't dying. I mean, this was probably 2011, 2012 when I bought that, and they don't really have much competition in fight sticks, to my knowledge. I mean, that was kind of like their thing. So, I mean, they were like the high-end fight stick.
Yeah.
There were the one I had was not the highest end one, but I'm pretty sure they all use the same switches. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, it's a bit strange because those switches. I mean, having built arcade controls myself, the basic micro switch that you use within those are pretty standard, and they'll last for millions of clicks. So I'm not really sure you would think. Yes,
but they weren't. They were using. I mean, do you know the ones? They're not the ones that I was using on the other stick with like cherry switches in them. Like they weren't standard arcade switches. They were specific fight stick switches that are built in. You can't change the switch in the button. You have to replace the entire button. So, because the arcade ones, those are amazing. They last forever.
Yeah, they're bulletproof.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I mean, I don't have any experience with those type of switches, and maybe that's not. I mean, they're easy enough to replace, but it's just I don't feel like I should be having to replace my switches once a month if I use my fight stick on a regular basis.
Well, so Saucy Slingo asks us, he said, did you guys see Mad Catz as just cheap controllers? Or, I mean, because they made a push to do some quality pieces of hardware with, like that MLG 360 controller. This was kind of paraphrasing his question, but how did you vision, let's take the music peripherals aside. How did you feel about their controller quality?
I always saw them as sort of a lower tier, like they're cheap controllers. I always viewed them as cheap controllers, and I never really thought that the build quality was going to be good enough. I pretty much always went for the first party controllers, just because I never thought that Mad Catz had particularly good controllers. So I was a bit surprised actually when they got the deal for the Rock Band stuff. And I thought maybe they'd stepped up their game a bit. And I sort of thought they'd actually been doing some decent stuff just before that, but I hadn't had direct experience with it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Certainly. Yeah.
I think the guitar they did for Rock Band 4 was the best entry-level guitar that's ever been made. Out of all the music games, that is my favorite sub-$100 guitar by far. It's so good.
Sure.
Wait, you spent over $100 on a guitar for Rock Band?
Well, sort of. So,
okay.
At the end of life,
that's not the pro guitar at any rate.
At the end of the life of Rock Band 3, Mad Catz were blowing out all their inventory because they made a whole bunch of guitars that never seemed to make it to any stores, but they were sold on the Mad Catz store, and everything was like 70+% off because they were just getting rid of it because it obviously wasn't selling. This is when all the music games effectively died. So I pretty much bought one of every guitar that they made, and I tried all of them because they were so cheap. They were like $30 or something. They were like $100 guitars that were down to like $30. But there was one other guitar that they made that was $300. And that was made in the body of a Stratocaster, a real Stratocaster.
I bet all of that's licensing.
But
yeah, right?
The switch quality in that guitar is amazing. That's the best guitar I've ever used. It is, I mean, other than the guitar being really big and heavy, that's the only downside to it. Everything else is superior in every way. Like
you just play buttons, Rocksmith instead.
The buttons are so nice. The strum bar is so nice.
Was it a clicky strum bar or a mushy strum bar?
It was a clicky strum bar.
Perfect. I hate the mushy ones.
I kind of like the mushy ones, but I mean, it was okay. It was good. It's really, really, really nice. And, but yeah, I think it was originally about 300, and I don't imagine they sold a lot of them.
Yeah, I go clicky myself. 80. I like clicky.
I like the tactile feedback. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. the clicky, I think, the sort of the difference between those, just looking at arcade controls again, the sort of the mushy one is more of a leaf style button where it's just got two pieces of metal which are essentially on a sort of a spring essentially, and they get pushed together when you hit them, versus the micro switch, which is a definite click. You've definitely got that switch done. You can feel it. They've both got their sort of pros and cons, but I think I've always preferred the micro switch, just for the same reason. You always get that tactile feedback. You always know when you've got it, whereas with the leaf spring ones, they've got a slightly better response time, I think, or there's something a little bit better about them in some ways, but the fact is that they tend to get dirty or wear out, and so you can be not sure that you've got it, if you know what I mean. So that's I think where micro switches tend to shine.
I used to like the clicky, and then I started using I don't remember when I switched to the Rock Band style guitar, but ever since I've been totally sold. Just it took me a little bit to get used to the no feedback, but I mean I've got a lot of mileage on my mushy switch.
Is that because you can pinch it though? Is that because you can pinch it like a pick, or is that because of the strum motion?
Kind of. I mean, I do pinch it, but it's not so much the strumming. I mean, I've totally gotten used to the strumming now, and I love it, and it's kind of hard to go back. Although the Guitar Hero Live guitar was actually easier because the strum bar was kind of thinner and it was easier to pinch it like I had gotten used to. But it's mostly the fret buttons being closer together and flat. I've gotten so used to playing on that now, and I just find I can slide my hands up and down way smoother than I can on any of the Guitar Hero guitars that have the clicky feedback.
Yep. Anyway, at the risk of doing an Overwatch on the X1 Brothers, let's move on to another topic. We're spending too long on Rock Band, I think, now.
As we always do.
Moving on from Mad Catz, another company is closing up a bunch of shops, and that's GameStop. Which is so interesting. I read some news a little while ago that GameStop's stock price had actually tanked once the Xbox Live. What's that program they're bringing out? The Xbox,
Game Pass.
Game Pass. Yeah, GameStop's stock price dropped 18% or something ridiculous.
But anyway, seems excessive. That seems so excessive.
Probably not related, but they're closing at least 150 stores this year amid falling sales. So there we go.
So
GameStop.
So in Canada, we still have EB Games, and I've noticed the new ones that are opening are called EBX now. They don't even have games in the name, so it's not even.
Oh, really?
Well, because they don't sell games anymore. They just sell stuff.
That's interesting. We in Australia, they haven't done that, so there's still EB Games, but they've been actually opening up another store. I think it's it's not Zaz, but it's it's a store just purely for buying accessories, like those little what are they called? They're like dolls. The little. Yeah, those sort of things, and it's all that, and it's all just gimmicky stuff basically, and no games. So it's like they've got this whole
culture goodies.
Yeah, exactly,
quote,
that sort of stuff.
Nerd culture.
So maybe that's what they're doing in Canada. But it's odd. Anyway,
it's like Hot Topic with less piercings.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I guess.
I mean,
I have no idea what that is, but
the push. That's kind of the push the U.S. GameStops have had too. I mean, I hardly ever go into them anymore. It's because every time I go there, it's a bad experience. And it's really not surprising to me that this is happening. It's because, well, one, they're everywhere. There's way too many of them. And second, it's a bad experience every time I go in there. The stuff that you have is in bad shape.
Yeah.
Your prices are too high. It used to be, it was super cheap. So I would go there all the time because it's I can get, there's 300 games that I can get for less than $5. Now there's nothing.
Well, for me, I find my problem with EB Games is not so much the pricing; it's that I go in there and there's nothing left for me to buy.
That was the problem with EB Games in Canada. At least the one in my town is there was never anything there. They had no stock ever. And,
mine have got stock. I've bought everything.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Oh,
yeah, I used to get the calls. Hey, we only got one copy of this, and do you want it before we put it on the shelves? Call me.
Because you go, yeah.
Get the he got the punch card.
But we don't have the U.S. ones have a lot, but it's all in terrible shape. So when I first kind of got into multi-boxing, and this was, again, coinciding with GameStop being really cheap, is I would come, this is when I still live in Canada, and I would come visit my wife in the US. This is before we were married. But at the same time, I would bring back like half a suitcase full of games because they were super cheap and I needed a bunch of copies of everything. So I'd go in and like half the stuff I bought didn't even work. Like it was scratched so bad that it wouldn't even.
But I'm sure they charged a resurfacing fee to trade that in the first place, right?
Oh yeah, of course they did. Yeah,
because it was in such bad shape.
On top of they charge you the $2 resurfacing fee with the 1 cent they gave you, so they actually charged you money to give that to them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that, but I remember that was something they used to do, where like it would be better off to not trade in certain games. I don't know. I know Canada stopped doing that, but I don't know about the US. So yeah, and then now the price of a used game is usually more than it is to buy it new on Amazon. So it's like, what draw do you have? You know, Amazon and Best Buy are both basically giving 20% off all new games. GameStop still charges you money to ship it. So it's like, unless you're going to pick it up, you're still paying more than you would at the competition. And if you want it delivered, it costs an extra $5. Like there's no appeal to going to GameStop, and it's just not surprising that this is happening.
It's a trade-in,
but you can trade in at Best Buy.
You can now. Yep. I just don't think this is widely known.
No, it's definitely not. But I don't know.
I guess that's just market forces at work, really. You've got these really big companies coming in and doing the same thing, and they're going to be able to use their size just to be able to leverage and get better prices. And EB Games or GameStop are starting to suffer a bit.
GameStop's particularly big too.
Yeah, but then they're not going to be as big as, say, Amazon.
Yeah, but you know,
that's true, Amazon. But
my reaction when I heard it was like, oh, they're closing 180 stores. And I'm like, so that's like a tenth of them. Like, to me, like they're everywhere already. So I
guess that's the other side of it is when they're opening up two across the street from one another, you kind of go, is that really necessary?
Yeah,
it's already super bloated.
Yeah, and that's like, I know I can drive. Like, I bet I have 3 or 4 within 15 minutes of where I live.
Oh, I do too.
It's like,
well, and then you get those like offshoot ones that like many? There's like one in the mall called Games and Go or something. Like, to me, that just I see that and I think of like gas stations called like Pump and Chug, or you know, just like
wait a minute, what do you do at a what do you do at a Pump and Chug?
You don't. That's for another show.
You just don't want to know.
You pump your gas and you chug your Slurpee. That's what you do.
I've never heard of a pump.
Really? Oh, because I purposely said Pump and Chug because I felt like that one was less egregious than the Come and Go, which is spelled K-U-M.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like that literally is a store. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is that where you're going for your walks in the morning, Randy? When you saw the old man in the sidewalk?
See, I think that's just inspired a new level in big rigs.
You gotta go to the different. Yeah.
That's gonna be the DLC, right? And you have to actually pay to pump and chug.
You have to pay real money to fill up your truck.
It's the extra level of realism.
Nice. We have so much feedback to get to, guys. We should probably move into it. One thing I want to mention, so we didn't do, obviously you guys didn't do any feedback last show, so we had nothing to give away, but I got a message from, because I don't want to forget to give out the prize, and so when we said that Big L won his week, and I sent him the prize like the day the show came out, but of course he hadn't listened to it yet, and he goes, ironically, you spoiled me on the surprise on my question about spoilers, because I had already given the prize. I said, you know what, you're right, that is... So maybe we'll hold off just a tad and let the show breathe for a little bit. So if you win and don't get a prize, it's because we wanted you to hear it and be excited. Now, hopefully, you're not a month behind like I am.
It's not because we forgot. Yeah. It's because we didn't want to spoil the surprise. That's right. Not because we forgot at all. Never.
Something.
No, of course not. No.
Absolutely not.
We would never forget to give away codes on this show ever.
So, Tarragon, let's get into some of your friend feed here.
Yeah, it was actually just late. It was after episode 66, but I got a couple of comments just after the show had finished, and I wanted to touch on it. But NBA Kirkland said, well, firstly, you guys rock, which is awesome. Thank you. But he was also reminded because we were talking about games that kind of kicked off our gaming career, and he was reminded about the original Ultima, and that was one of the games that got him hooked on video games as well. So he played Ultima 1 through 5 to death, and Ultima 4 was great, which was my first sort of huge game. Misfit 119 then chimed in and said, and then Ultima died a horrible death, and nobody ever made any good games past Ultima 7. So, which is true because it kind of died off.
Well, there is a new one coming out though. It's not called Ultima because they couldn't get the rights to the name, but they got the rights to everything else.
It's and that's got Richard Garriott on board, as I recall, doesn't it?
It's got a whole bunch of guys. Well, we actually talked with one of them at the Boston Indie Games Festival.
So
it was really cool. Yeah.
Just so further on that, NBA also pinged me on Twitter a few days later, and Richard Garriott, who's otherwise known as Lord British, who was the Ultimate guy, he's actually interviewed on the latest IGN Unfiltered, and I've listened through about half of that interview, but it's actually really interesting, mostly because he talks about how he went into space, which is pretty cool.
But he actually went into space?
He's been into space, yeah, and it was really interesting because he's dad was an astronaut, and he actually lived in Houston, and basically everyone who lived around him was all like in part of the sort of rocket industry. So he basically had neighbors who were astronauts or rocket scientists and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. Just and he's got an interesting poop story in space, which is not something you never think about. But
that's what you want.
When I went to DC a little while ago, they did have space toilets in one of the museums. It's interesting.
Yeah, but you can't get the full experience without being weightless, though. So
yeah,
I'll let you. I don't know
if I'd want to have that experience.
Use your imagination.
It's a different type of propulsion lab.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I think you think more toothpaste than anything else, and we'll just leave it at that.
Nice. Let's stay down under with some Twitter talk. Why don't you cover this, Tarragon?
Yeah. You
met the dude.
Yes, I met this dude in person. Anyway, Alex, he basically said thanks for the shout out on episode 57. So this was just after we met. She did laugh at you, Frimhole, suggesting that he would win a fight. So yeah, I'm going to have to beef up, aren't I? Get to the gym.
You just take some drugs or something. That's what you can do.
That's well.
Get all like crazed up on PCP or something, and the Hulk out on him.
I just want to mention as well, Alex is actually doing his own YouTube series. He's because he actually bought a camera and my spare microphone. So that's how we met. So he's actually started I think a weekly YouTube thing. So I'll link it in the show notes if I can find it.
Cool.
And go check it out.
Little shameless self promotion there. Nice, do that. Beer Me chimes in. We have a few comments from him. That dude's awesome. He's got a question for us. He says, hey, with Xbox making all these games playable on Xbox and Windows 10, he's looking to get a new PC because he's got this old Surface 3. So he's curious if we have any recommendations on to what he was thinking about getting, like a Surface Pro, or what kind of computer should he get that would be handy for gaming but is good for someone who doesn't know anything about computers, like building one from scratch and stuff.
And then he goes on to also mention run-the-top games and possible VR compatibility, and that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah. Get that off the shelf.
I couldn't really recommend anything because I'm a Mac guy and I haven't really dabbled in PC hardware building for a long time and don't really want to. How about you guys? You got any sort of suggestions you can go for there?
I don't, but there's that website on Reddit, I think, Build Me a PC type. What the hell Reddit is that?
There's PC Master Race, or you could do Build a PC too. Yeah.
Build a PC, and like you literally just say like, hey, this is what I want. Build a PC for me, the subreddit, and like you can say, I'm looking for a gaming rig. I want to spend $900. Graphics are important to me. or whatever. You get to set the specifications. They have a nice little clean way of doing it, and like these dudes on this site just really like finding pieces, and they're like, okay, so you got to go to this PC warehouse, and then you got to go to Jeff over here, and he'll hook you up with an awesome graphics card, and then you want to and like you'll have your little thing built for you, and someone and you can just take those and go nuts with it. And I think the way that components are moving is they're trying to embrace getting people involved in building PCs, and they're trying to take the stigma of that out. And so they're actually not as difficult to build. You don't have to be a super nerd anymore. And so maybe that's something to look into.
It's quite simple.
Yeah, if you are looking for an all-in-one solution that's decently performing, I would say Razer's doing some pretty nice stuff. Something that's like the form factor of a MacBook, but actually has like a 4K video card in it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was actually looking at some of those because I was looking to get a new laptop pretty soon too, and yeah, the Razer Blade is
it's pretty sweet.
Kind of amazing for how small it is.
Yeah, what's the price on those though? I guess that's the thing
very,
is that
very good. For what it is, extremely good. Price
to performance. Now, yeah, the more money you spend, the better it'll be. And I think to get a decent VR rig going, you're in excess. So I think in Australia it's in excess of like $2,000. I'm not sure if it.
You'll spend less building your own PC for sure. But if you're looking for an all-in-one, I don't know how to put the parts together. I'm not comfortable doing it. It's a pretty viable option.
Yeah.
Do you think one of those could handle VR though? Like a Razer Blade?
Well, it depends. One of them has a 1080, right? I think they managed to get it.
Yeah, I think one of the top end ones is already sort of set up to basically do VR. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it can.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're pretty.
And when I was looking, because there were a few, because I'm looking for like a smaller one, because right now I have this giant thing that doesn't even fit in a backpack. So when I travel, it's a pain. But looking at those, it was definitely up there on price to performance.
Have you thought about getting a bigger backpack? Just a thought.
I have, but it's too big for a carry-on. So
right,
that's the problem. It takes up half. Like when it's in its carry bag, it takes up half of a carry-on suitcase.
Wow. Okay,
it's an oversized 17-inch laptop. It's huge. It weighs 10 pounds with the battery.
Is it a Dell? I used to have a Dell like that.
No, it's an Asus. Yeah. One of their early really heavy duty gaming line ones is like 6 years old. So
pushing the boundaries of the word laptop at that point.
Well, basically what I wanted it to be was a portable desktop, because I didn't want a desktop because I was like taking it around with me all the time, but it didn't have to be super portable. But now it's like I wanted a game on PC, and then then I was just like, this is too much work. I don't like it. So I mean, I like having some power.
Sounds a bit like my old 17-inch. I used to have a 17-inch MacBook, the MacBook Pro, and they're great. They're really big, and you get lots of like screen space and whatnot. But yeah, they really are the personal desktop and laptop heater. It's
well, see, mine is not only
it's good for keeping your bits warm. I'll tell you that.
There you go.
Not only 17 inches
warm bits.
It's also got big fans that stick out the back, like
extra,
in addition to the screen, which is amazing because it never gets hot. And I suspect that has a lot to do with why it's lasted me 6 years. Because it's not like actually burning hot all the time.
Actually, I found mine got the hottest when it was actually plugged into power because the battery was charging, so the battery warms up. And it's just.
I took the battery on mine stopped working about 4 years ago, so it no longer has a battery plugged into it.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, there's your extra cooling.
Yeah. You'll have to beer me. Let us know what you end up going with, and we'll see. Hopefully that works out for you. I'm also. I'm not in the market for a new laptop, but boy, I want one. I want one to play games.
The person to ask, though, is probably Damien, because
that dude sells them.
He sells them, so he might have some stuff to sell or some suggestions. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find something off the back of a truck. We got a PM from Sprinkle Demon. I mentioned him in the past couple of shows because he won, and I always said, well, I don't really know if it's a dude or a chick. Well, it's a dude. He says, hey, Freem, you keep mentioning me in passing on the podcast because I snuck in and won the February random to-do list. I just wanted to key you in, I'm a dude. So no more need for public speculation. He said, seriously, though, I was shocked that I won. I signed up because that type of contest gave him motivation to hit his backlog. But, man, he only signed up in January to win in the second month with just 3 out of 25 achievements. That is ridiculous. He says, hey, keep doing the amazing podcast things. Love it. So, Sprinkle Demon, there you go. Nice work. Glad that you're hanging out playing some games with us. We got another Twitter comment from Alex. He's got a question for the show. He asks, does anyone play a game for a while and then shelve it and then come back and fall in love with it later? So is there a game that you picked up and you're like, I'm going to put this away, and then all of a sudden you pull it back out and you're like, God, why did I put this down?
Yeah, I would say I saw this question and had to think about it. And the first game that really came to mind was Bully, actually, because I started that game and went, nah, this game's not for me. I don't get it. And then I ended up picking it up again probably a year and a half, 2 years later and going, I'm kind of getting it. It's like it's a Rockstar game. And I think the thing with Rockstar games is you've kind of got to go into it with the idea that the entire thing is satire and you can't take anything too seriously. Yeah. If you try and take it too seriously, then you're just going to get offended. I kind of approached it with the wrong mindset, I think, when I first loaded it up. And then, I really fell in love with it. It's actually one of my favorite early open world games. Bully was probably one of mine, and I'm sure there's others that I've done the same thing on.
Nice. Steven, you got one?
I don't know about going back to it and loving it, but Call of
Duty. Do you ever leave a game?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I leave them all the time. If you hit a wall, you should move on, because sometimes coming back to it, you're going to be a little more refreshed and get stuck.
That's good advice.
Yeah, because Call of Duty 3, I think, was one of the Call of Duties, one of the early ones, and I had a really horrid checkpoint where I had gotten ahead of my advancing line, and I was behind the Germans, and they were all just killing me every time I spawned in the checkpoint. So I said, screw this. I shelved it for a couple years, came back to it, just restarted the chapter, and it's pretty much plowed through and finished off the game afterwards. So it wasn't 3, but one of the Call of Duties. It was right when you're storming the beach in Normandy, and I got into the pillbox, and it was bad. So I don't know about going back and loving the game, but I did get a completion by putting the game away. And I'll do that now, too. I mean, I do tend to jump around on games a little bit when I'm getting frustrated, because I don't want to get that, Hulk rage building or anything like that. Just walk away. You're probably doing it too much, and give yourself some space and time.
Yeah, for sure. Prue, what about you?
It predates Achievements a little bit, but I'm glad that I did it, because it really introduced me to one of my favorite game series. I picked up Morrowind fairly shortly after it came out on the Xbox, the original Xbox, and that's a steep learning curve game. It's not a game you can just pick up and kind of walk through. And I got frustrated before I even really got to the first town, and I put it down for months and months. And then I picked it back up, and man, it is one of my favorite games now, and has led me to, Oblivion and now Skyrim. I love these games. They're so amazing. And it's just, I'm so glad that I went back, because if I had left it where it was, I don't know if I would have ever played those ones.
Nice. What about you, Randy?
Surprisingly, BioShock. I bought BioShock not when it first came out, but shortly after. It was when it was still full price. So, I mean, it would have been a few months after. And I'd heard really good things about it, and I started playing it. I got probably a third of the way through the game. And for some reason, it just didn't grab me. It didn't grab me at all, and I don't know, maybe I wasn't, really focused on it, or I didn't care, or I was looking for something that it wasn't at the time. And I didn't play it again for a really long time. And then I came back to it, and it was like, what's wrong with me? How did I not play this? And then, of course, immediately fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Because, as I think we all know, I am a big BioShock fan. And
that's probably my favorite. I'll go to Rapture anytime if somebody asks me to go to Rapture.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. And that's a good way to put it, because it's that's what it is. You're not playing BioShock, you're going to Rapture.
Yeah. Nice.
It's so good.
My Mine actually came up this week with the random to-do list. I was looking at one of them, and it turns out I was like pretty close to getting it. And so I fired up South Park, The Stick of Truth. As I had left that off toward the end of day one, and one of the next achievements was the one on my random to-do list. And so I fired that up, played for about another 40 minutes, an hour or so. And I'm like, I forgot how funny that game is. I'm like, this is so good. I don't know why I stopped playing it. And so now, especially with this upcoming month for Cerebral Assassin, he's got a couple of S's in there. So I think South Park is going to get played in April here. Of course, then I'm going to repeat and say, Mass Effect. Why did I leave Mass Effect? So I got to stay on top of that one too. But that was my game.
So good. It's such a good game.
It is. Yeah, it is. And of course, we're not getting the Fractured Butthole out for any time soon. So,
I'm sorry. What did you say?
The Fractured Butthole.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Butthole. You got it?
No, that's wrong. That's not what they meant to say, okay.
We got another question from Beer Me here. He says, with all the games, this is to Tarragon specifically, with all the games that you have been diving, he says, how are you doing it? What's your approach to diving a game? And that kind of opens the question to everybody else. What's your approach to diving a game? Do you go to TA and find out what's the easiest, or you just kind of jump in and mess around for a little bit and just, hit start on the campaign and assume there's going to be one pretty close? What's your take, Tarragon?
I generally look at TA because I've found that the press start and hope for the best approach doesn't generally work all that well, particularly for some games. So yeah, I if I'm just purely looking at the game to dive, then yes, I will look at the achievement list. There's sort of two approaches I take to it. You can look at just the lowest ratio in the game, which is a good indicator of it's the first achievement people unlock, but that's also not necessarily the easiest or quickest one to unlock.
Right.
Often there's a lot of like just little multiplayer ones that you can pick up, or ones for creating a profile for your multiplayer profile and things like that. They often have achievements. So they're the ones I kind of look for. There is actually a forum topic. I don't visit it as often as I should, but there is a forum topic dedicated to this particular question, which gets a bump every official bean dive. And that's basically got a list of games and people have suggestions for which achievement to go for first and that kind of thing. But yeah, I generally do look at the lists, unless I know it's like a completely linear game, such as like, one of the Telltale games. I just know I'm going to have to play through a segment of that game in order to get an achievement. There is no other way to get it. Those ones I won't bother with. But yeah, on the most part, yes, I do target achievements specifically. Yeah, I'm probably the only one who serially bean dives, so I'm not sure that anybody else is going to have much.
There was a period
this,
of time where I was putting all the Xbox One games on my tag for the challenge notifications. That's kind of I'm still recovering my percentage from that, but it takes me about 700 achievements from 1%. But
oh my gosh,
the way I pretty much took the same approach. So I would sort by the TA ratio, just ascending and just figure out what's going on there, or look for something quick and easy in multiplayer.
Yep.
I don't
Nice.
dive.
Yeah.
I've never dived. So
no.
I don't offer much input here.
Yeah, I typically just, if I'm looking for, like, if I'm trying to, let's say, for the Gamertag challenge, right, and I need, I need an E. Okay, well, let's find an E game, and where's the closest one for me to get? So I'll typically use TA if I'm, otherwise, obviously, if I'm playing a game, I'll just jump right into it and hope for the best. I typically don't look at lists going into it, so that's kind of my take. Prue, what about you?
No, I don't jump into games like that. I don't dive at all. I mean, if I'm going to play the game, I'll play it, and I'm not necessarily going to complete the whole game or whatever. But I'm fine with. I don't know. To me, it's just I try to keep my completion percentage up as high as I can. It doesn't preclude me from playing anything that I want to play. But I've never just started a game just to get it on my tag or anything like that. So I'm not the person to talk to for this advice.
Gotcha. Well, how about we switch topics then with Foo Cuddly Poof. He asked me in Discord, what is your favorite cartoon currently, and what was your favorite cartoon back in the day? So mine, currently, I am thoroughly enjoying the new Ninja Turtles. The the Nickelodeon ones, where there's kind of a little bit bigger. The choreography is cooler. I like everything much better with it. I think the story is pretty good. They have some higher level humor, so I totally appreciate all that. And my old school, and it's not even that old school, but I used to watch a ton of Adult Swim, and so I really like C-Lab 2021. Those little shorts, I thought they were hilarious. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force, oh my god, I thought those were just wonderful. But like super old school, I don't even know. I don't even know what to go back that far. I know I watched a lot of He-Man, but it's not memorable enough. What about
He-Man, Inspector Gadget?
Oh, yep.
Inspector Gadget for me.
Inspector Gadget was so infuriating for me. Yeah,
I've had it's sort of a bit of a I had a secret crush, I think, on Penny when I was like 10 years old. So,
oh, that's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Steven, you
of course, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think, as well, was probably pretty popular for me back in those days.
I'm with you, Freem, on the new Turtles. I love that. I mean, it's been a little bit since I've kept up with it, but man, it's good and amazing. And in fact, they just announced, I believe, that they are they're ending it, and they're going to a more traditional animation style for the next Turtles series.
Really?
I thought you were going to say they're going to go for live action. I was like, what?
No. By the way, they did do a live action television Turtles show in the 90s, and
oh my God,
it was awful.
So bad. And they had the chick turtle. Like
Venus de Milo.
Yep.
Wait, what?
They had the shell, and they gave her a rack.
Shell
and
boobs.
They had
shell boobs, yep.
Shell boobs, and like it was almost like a bodysuit. Like her.
Was that the same Turtles they did like the 2 or 3 movies of that were hilariously bad?
No. Oh, hang on.
Well,
cool your
kinda.
jets, but
yeah,
because those movies are amazing. By
hilariously cheesy bad.
No, the first movie is actually not that cheesy. It's actually has a pretty serious tone, and it's very good, very very good. Second movie, much cheesier, but still enjoyable. Third movie, terrible, awful,
hot garbage,
terrible. The live action show didn't come out until after the third one, I believe.
Well,
if I
after.
remember correctly.
Yeah, well after.
Okay.
But it did use the same prosthetic suits, and I mean, it was in that same vein. And yes, they introduced a female turtle
that looked hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, they're bad. They're terrible.
Yeah.
And so, as far as his question goes, old school cartoon, Doug, man. I love that
Doug.
show. Oh, man.
With that Skeeter and with the
do you guys remember Roger Ramjet?
No.
Nope.
I forget he was part of a series, like it's I think he was part of another, like it was a cartoon series that had like lots of little segments, and Roger Ramjet was just one of those segments. But yeah, that's maybe it's all before your time. Okay, showing my age here.
So I was thinking of, when you said Doug, I was thinking Rocko's Modern Life. I watched quite a bit of that back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Ren and Stimpy, that was all the same era.
Yep.
Ren and Stimpy, yeah. That came a bit later. That's a little bit more mature.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
I did not appreciate that when I was younger, and then it was only like maybe 3 or 4 years after, and I was like, oh, I get what they're saying here. Ooh, these are dirty. These are. I see why I didn't get it when I was, 8 or whatever.
Wow, Roger Ramjet's 1965.
Oh my God, you weren't even alive in 65.
I'm not that old, no.
What do you got, Steven?
Probably current gen, I would say. The Rick and Morty and Family Guy
Yep.
are up there. But old school is kind of more the Warner Brothers afternoon after school lineup with Animaniacs and the dark broody Batman and the that kind of stuff. And then the X-Men on Saturdays, the X-Men cartoons.
Yes, yep. Now the X-Men classic.
Yep.
Right.
With that theme song.
Yeah.
All right. Tarragon, you take the next one here?
Yeah, so just going back to that PM from Bimmy, he actually went on a little bit further with that, and he was talking about the bean dive stuffs, and he actually wanted to sort of hear more about my bean dives, given that I'm basically diving a crap ton of games at the moment. And he sort of had a suggestion for that being a separate segment. I did actually have a bit of a think about this, and I was, and this might actually be a good time to just talk about what we're doing with our reviews as well. Because we're actually splitting that up into its own little sort of branch off podcast, and will be its own thing, and it will be released separately from the main show. But I was thinking I could actually almost do like another show just on bean dives, because I know there's a certain segment of the community out there that happen to like been diving, and that might be something I'll have a think about. But yeah, so that's that was all. I just wanted to touch on that I am thinking about it, and might be another little side project for us. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to do kind of the review shows. I dabbled in Zombie Vikings today, so I will. I need to put more time in before I can make a review. But I got some first impressions, and so we'll cool. be able to put something together.
Yeah, so we're looking at the review shows coming out on Fridays, I think. So that'll be a much shorter. Yeah, so the plan is there should be one this Friday. I was thinking there might not be one this week while we get everything put together, but no, I think this Friday we will have. Yep. I think we're on track. Yeah, I think we're on track. So we're looking at doing sort of two back-to-back review segments. We're going to be reviewing at least 2 games, and I think the show is going to be sort of about 20 to 30 minutes at most. Yeah, because we're getting so many games now that one a week just isn't. I mean, we're getting like even 2 a week is probably not going to be able to keep up with the rate we're getting games now. We simply can't keep up with the number of games we're getting. Plus it's adding to the show length, and we sort of one of the easy ways to kind of reduce the show length is to carve segments off into their own things a bit. So yeah. Anyway,
so we're going to give it a go. Anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, of course, this show is not the one that's going to be shorter, so we might as well move on. I got a question from New York Giants. He says, hey, what are your thoughts on the typical 1 to 10 scale? Or what kind of grading scales do you prefer for reviewing games? Do you like TA's? TA's got a 10-point scale, right?
TA's 5 points. So it has a 9...
with halves, right?
It's 10. You can't give it 0 stars, but it's got like 0.5 through to 10, or 0.5 through to 5.
Yeah. So. Do you like the 100-point scales? Do you like that? So what's your take? Where do you guys fall? Do you have a preference?
Having my partner is in sort of user interface design, and has pointed me to sort of certain studies that talk about just how rating scales work realistically in the real world, and a lot of that stuff's actually been tested by YouTube. YouTube used to have a star scale for all their videos, and they changed to just a thumb up, thumb down system. And the reason they did that was because basically people were either voting 5 stars or 1 star most of the time, and nobody ever really used anything in between. And I think that's a lot of the problem with having bigger scales, is that people will just always pick at one end, or 80% or something like that. They're only going to be picking various points around it. So you lose you've got a lot of granulation, but it's never used, and therefore it's useless. And basically there's only sort of like 1 star, and then 4 star and 5 star, and 2 and 3 stars have zero value or 0 meaning, because hardly anyone uses them, or uses them consistently. So I would personally get rid of all of those kind of scales and just use this is good, this is bad, because that's really all that matters when it gets right down to it.
I think that's interesting you bring that up too, because like if you look at even Amazon reviews, it's just like that. It's like you have 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star, and then there's like a couple outliers in 2 and 3. But interesting enough, on websites like Yelp, reviewing travel and food things, there's a lot more use of 2, 3, 4 stars. It's not just 5 stars or 1 star. There's a lot more of in between. So I don't know why. I notice it more on those sites.
Yeah, I think my concern with a lot of that stuff is there's no sort of guidelines for how something should earn a particular rating. Mm-hmm. So people just make it up. So they just make it up arbitrarily. And usually people will go, well, this was really good, but is it really good enough for a 5 star? Not quite. I'll give it a 4 or 4.5. Or I really hated this, 1 star. But there's no sort of real Like, if something is a 3-star, you would think if something's got possible 5 ratings, then a 3 should be decent. It's pretty good. That's like, it's better than half, right? So a 3-star should be this is worth your time. Yet nobody ever treats it like that. A 4-star is the minimum. It's like people looking at something that gets like a 70% rating on Metacritic and going, that's a crap game. It's like, come on. Really? So it kind of loses the granulation there, just loses its value below a certain point. So I just don't see that there's really any value to it. And I think just the lack of consistency when you add more and more people into it who have different ideas about what things should be means that it loses its value. So yeah, having something really simple that nobody can really argue about, like, this is good. If you like it, give it a thumb up. That's a good thing. Nobody can argue with that. It means the same thing for everybody. You liked it. You know, I think that's the simplest and best way, particularly when you're treating crowdsourced ratings for things like that.
I think it needs to be a little bit more nuanced because there's
categories.
There's
thumbs up,
love
thumbs down
it.
graphics, thumbs up, down music, thumbs up.
Yeah.
And
I
okay, let's divide it then. There's the crowdsourced view of where you get lots and lots of people rating the same thing and use that as a guideline, and then there's reviewers, people who are officially reviewing it for a website or something like that. They may have some guidelines for how they rate their things, and that's perfectly fine, I think, to have a more granulated experience, as long as it's really well defined why you're giving it this rating and not just some arbitrary, every game gets 4 or 5 if it's good.
But I mean, it is arbitrary though. I mean, even if it was like X publication giving it these ratings for X reasons, it's arbitrary to them. It's meaningless outside of that. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. And I get arbitrary in the sense that it's arbitrary. But if it's defined, if you can look at that and go, here are their guidelines for how they give their ratings, I'm totally okay with that. If it's just done completely off the bat and everybody's inconsistent about it, then I think it loses its value. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree too. One of the big problems I have with like the 1 through 10 scale or the 1 through 100 scale, like you were mentioning before, is the fact that the bottom half of that scale is never used, like almost completely. Like, unless it's like tremendously terribly bad and you're going to get like a 40 or something. Yeah. If every game that comes out is between a 1 and a 100, then there should be some games that are a 4 or a 7 or a 12, but we never get that. And so I see where the benefit would come in, where it's thumbs up, thumbs down. However, that doesn't tell you that much, really. I mean, you could watch a video on YouTube and it could be something terrible and get a lot of thumbs up or a lot of thumbs down. People abuse that system all the time too. You know, it's not perfect either. I mean, it's better because it's more simple, but it also gives you less information. So it's kind of a toss-up. I think there's no perfect solution for this problem. It seems to be a little too complex to kind of just get one rating system down for everything to fix it. I don't know. Games are way more complex. Like, how many games have you played this year that you can't give a thumbs up or thumbs down to? Or somewhere in the middle. They exist. I guess it's good. I guess it's bad. Like, you can't. Thumb. It's exactly. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough problem.
That's what I kind of like what we do with reviews, Ed, is like we have, we would say, yes, buy this, maybe, and don't play it. It's a waste of your time. It's kind of like...
You need an on-sale option.
You've also got buy it when it's cheap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the maybe. It's like, if you really like this genre, get it. If if it's on sale for half price, get it. But it doesn't quite meet the criteria of we would really recommend this. So it's kind of like that 3 scale, especially with, we kind of do a more casual review of really just kind of playing it and talking about it a bit, and then kind of ending it with with our recommendations at the end.
But to be honest,
I think
go ahead.
I think the other key too is like when you have this crowdsourced rating, there's no barrier to entry. I mean, you could watch 3 seconds of that video and give it a thumbs down. You could unlock one achievement. I mean, you could rate every game that you bean dove, Tarragon, and you played for 10 minutes. It's
that.
like, like there's no barrier to entry. Like there's no guidelines. It's just when you don't have.
Actually, I could give it ratings on how easy it is to bean dive.
Yeah, exactly.
And that means that press start to play achievement gets that 5-star rating.
That's a Tarragon scale. That's what that is.
It's like you have my rating system that I've talked about. That's kind of I've tailored and what I try and be fair in rating them. Not just I really hate Rock Revolution, so I'm going to give it half a star. Well, it's not quite half a star bad. But it's also really not good because it works. Like it's not glitchy. It works. It's just poorly made and poorly done. So it gets
and it doesn't have mandatory DLC. So I guess that's the it doesn't lose its wrap.
But then there's
half a star for that.
I've seen people that rate everything 5 stars or everything half a star. So it's like
well, that kind of leads me to
that is basically a thumb up and thumb down. Then.
Yeah, to my angle of attack is finding people who share my interests and listening to their reviews. Is if there's somebody who likes similar games, like I personally think Macca does a great job on his reviews, and he and I tend to like similar games, or he at least presents his data in a way that I can feel comfortable about a buying decision. And there are others, but like Randy, I don't like the games you play, and so I don't adhere to your gaming scale. So like you can give a game whatever, and so it just doesn't fit with the types of games I look for. And so that's probably the best you're going to be able to do with any sort of scale. And I kind of like
that's the thing.
Metacritic with
the thing is that's the point. There is the scale itself is irrelevant. It's actually the reviewer and the opinion of the reviewer themselves that is the important thing, not the scale.
Yeah.
So if the reviewer gave it a thumbs up and you happen to like a lot of games that reviewer also likes, you're going to go and look at it. Whether they gave it a 99% out of 100 or a 4 out of 5 or a thumb up, you're still going to go, well, that reviewer has got games that I like, so I can probably be safe going for that. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
And I kind of like Metacritic, and I know Metacritic's got its issues too, but I like the idea of taking composites from all over the place. Kind of like Rotten Tomatoes, where you get a ton of critics doing a movie, and you kind of mash them all together and come up with a composite score. And of course, the more people out there who are doing it, the better the score is, or the more accurate, quote unquote accurate, the score can be. And so, like, I think there's some value in that, but it's simply that's kind of the eye test, and then you go and find somebody that you tend to agree with, from their standpoint, and say, yep, okay, they happen to not like it because of this and this and this, and I actually tend to agree with them quite a bit, so I probably won't like it. I'm not going to make the choice. So there you have it. Wow, that was a lot more in depth than I thought it would be. Tarragon, Lord Chabello 13 asks, did you survive the Sharknado? Did you see this?
Sharknado managed to narrowly miss me. But I know people in my GTAS team were actually close to this thing, so I did see.
Did they make it? Amazing.
I saw the picture, like that. That was like a media person who took that picture, right? Like,
no, it was somebody from the fire department, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was how many miles inland was that? That was
13, I think.
Yeah, it's like
it was
a long way inland. And they pulled a shark out of a river. It was just like, oops. But that was not too far away, I think, from Montana, 97. I think he was up that way, but he managed to avoid most of that cyclone, so that's good.
That's nuts.
Sharknado. Only in Australia.
Eliphet77 asks, what future games are you looking forward to? There doesn't seem to be loads on the horizon, but for him, it's City Skylines and Cyberpunk 2077. Are there any coming
Cyberpunk
up that
2077
that you think you'll be disappointed?
City Skylines.
I got excited. That's a game that I might get excited for. I mean, I'm already excited. I'm trying not to be, but I'm already excited for it.
Well, the studio has a good pedigree, so it's worth.
That's the thing. Is like you got the right, it from what it seems like, you got the people that own the IP being involved with the game, and you've got this great studio involved with the game, and they've had lots of development time, and they're not rushed. It's looking good.
It's It's just an upgraded lie engine, right?
Hoping. It could be. It really, really could be. But I hope not. I mean, The Witcher was, from all reports, I haven't played it, but from all reports, it was amazing. So I really hope that it's like a cyberpunk Witcher. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I could see it.
So
I
excited.
could see it. I already mentioned mine, Destiny 2. That's come. I'm super pumped about that.
Oh, they canceled it. You didn't hear?
Oh, is that right?
Yes, April Fools.
Actually, I'm getting back on the Call of Duty bandwagon. That's what I'm really excited for the new. No, I'm not. That's not true.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah,
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, Red Dead's coming out. Yeah.
I would
say
probably the only real game
ukulele.
I'm looking forward to at the moment.
I was just going to say
Ukulele,
ukulele. Yep. And Freem, something I know that you love just as much as I do. We are very close as well to Toe Jam and Earl remaking its appearance. So I'm very excited about that.
I didn't know that.
What do you mean you didn't know that?
Did I know that? Did I mention it in the news at some point?
No. I mean, we've talked about it. It was crowdfunded.
Well, we talked about it last week. Maybe we didn't talk about it with Freem.
No, we definitely have because me and him have gushed over the game before. So it's coming out.
Yeah, but that was a while ago. That was quite a while ago.
Or it was going to be on Nintendo Switch or something garbage that I can't play.
No. It's honestly, the gameplay that's been released is a little underwhelming, but it was early. It was early alpha stuff, so I'm not going to hold too much against them. Yeah. But yeah, it's coming out too. So
what about you, Smrnov? You got some games that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm so far behind the curve that I don't look forward. I just finished Saints Row 1 Japan. Come on, give me a break there.
Nice. That's one I'm going to have a really hard time finding people for.
Oh,
I got all the Saints Row boosting.
I got another game. Another game because it's in our next question. Cowboy Killer 360. Any thoughts on State of Decay 2? And did anyone play State of Decay 1? I said, I'm sorry if you guys already talked about it and just catching up on the shows. Yes, State of Decay 2. I am super pumped for that. I had loved State of Decay 1. Actually, I can actually legitimately say that now because I played it a decent amount. And I'm super looking forward to what the co-op experience, all that kind of stuff. Man, it's going to be awesome. I really enjoyed it. And I keep telling myself, maybe that's the other S I'll do for Cerebral Assassin this month is State of Decay on the 360. I need to go back and get that one. What about you guys? Anything? State of Decay?
I bought that on sale.
Nope.
I think I have a couple of State of Decay achievements on my random to-do list, so that might be in my cards. But I think I started that game and I just haven't got back to it, so it might be another one of those, I'll go back to that game and really love it after having an aborted start. But yeah, we'll see.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's on my list here. NBA Kirkland, he poses an interesting question here. He says, so if you go to your My Stats page and select the date range to your first month on Xbox, how much Gamer Store did you get? For him, it was 285 on April of 06. And that's what he got. Weasel Pizza looked up his. His was March of 2009. But it was only the last 3 days, so he's like, that doesn't really count. So he looked at April of 2009, 2,390 was the first full month, and he said, I've been hooked from the start. So when, and to Randy's point, you look at the first month, that's like where they flush your system with all the offlines, so that's not quite perfect, but where do you guys...
It's not that it shows up, but it's that most people at that time, like online gaming wasn't really a thing. So at least
but that'll show up on TA's stats. So that will only show up in the first month that you signed up to TA itself, not your first month of stats. It shouldn't be too off.
I actually, I got the Xbox 360 at launch, and I don't want to blow everyone's socks off here, including the man who has over 1 million points. No big deal. My first month, I got 50 points. 50 points.
5-0.
Yeah, because here's the thing: I got Perfect Dark. So that's why they were all Perfect Dark achievements.
So you bean dived Perfect Dark in the first.
I got 4 achievements, and then I got a Hexic HD, of course, because back in those days you could play Perfect Dark, Hexic, or Call of Duty, and that was pretty much your options.
Don't forget Cameo.
It's true. I didn't have Cameo at the time.
That's a pretty good one.
My first
Tiger
one
Woods 06
was November 2007, and it was 190 gamer score, all in Oblivion. Apparently, I completed the Mage Guild and Thieves Guild during that month. Those are all the achievements. And then I was looking at my list, and I don't know why this is the case, but like apparently in December of 07, 0. March of 08, nothing. July of 08, nothing. November of 08, nothing. November of 08 is because of Call of Duty. I know that's from Call of Duty, but there's so many of these things I just don't, like, how did I not score anything? Even by accident. Like, I was playing, right? That freaks me out.
You might have been offline. Might have been offline during those months.
That seems weird.
See, I have...
What are you guys?
I got 100...
I was just going to say, I only have... Yeah,
You'll
well,
be
no,
far more interesting.
In all of my achievements, only 100 of mine are offline or so. And a lot of those are the iOS and Android ones that don't give timestamps. Like, I've always tried to be online when I get my achievements. So I can go back to December 2005 on TA, and I got apparently 2190 gamer score that month. So.
Wow. That's
a lot back in the day.
I was late to the party. But,
that's completing pretty much all the games that were out at the time.
No, I still haven't finished Project Gotham 3.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it could if you got the...
No, I got the dead ones, yeah. I just have to get platinums and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you actually can complete it then. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I got my Xbox in October 2006, and I scored 185 gamer score in my first month. So that was a whole month. And that was basically just Hexix, Dead Rising, and I started Saints Row, and that was one I never went back to, and Project Gotham Racing 3, funnily enough. But yeah, there we go.
So mine is December 06 is when I got my Xbox. It says I got 2 achievements. I know I got more than that because I was playing offline. Because again, like at this point, online gaming to me just wasn't a thing. Like my consoles were offline and I didn't know what achievements were. So I did get Xbox Live, I guess, near the end of the month because I got an achievement in Gra, which was my second online achievement. Or that came after Big Stoppy in Pocket Bike Racer. So I did a Big Stoppy, and then I killed an assassin in Gra. Then I was offline. So I did get my Xbox at the very end of December. So I got it on Boxing Day, which is a thing in Canada and not in the US.
Isn't it? Oh, okay. So
when you
thing in
fight all your
Australia as well. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's called Boxing Day, but yeah. We even have a Boxing Day cricket match that kicks off on that day.
Then my next one was March of 07, where I played Crackdown. Another one of my favorites. But it some point in between there, I'm pretty sure I was playing a lot of offline Dead Rising. Because I'm pretty sure I got Dead Rising before Crackdown.
I was pretty annoyed. Half of my Dead Rising list is actually offline.
No, that sucks.
Yeah, a lot of mine is. The one that really gets me is how much Saints Row I played offline, because I completed that a long time ago, like long before I was on TA. It was my first completion, actually. But since I signed up for TA in 2012, I think, my completion is on the day I signed up for TA.
Yeah,
when really it should be years earlier, and I'd be in like the top 100 or something. Which is kind of a bummer, but I don't know, maybe not quite the top 100, but pretty high up in terms of number of people that have played it. So that's it for me.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What Reset 42 wants to know, how is everybody doing in Clicker Heroes? What's your progress? What are your thoughts on that? I am avoiding that game like the plague. I am done with freemium. Like, after the Happy Wars thing, which Happy Wars was fine, but like
all these
free-to-play games, I gotta be done.
Well, as far as just a comparison, Happy Wars versus Clicker Heroes is much, much, much easier to complete. it really is a game you can basically just check in every so often, spend your money, and then not play it again, and your heroes are actually just earning money while it's actually not even on. So, it's I started it just because I was actually getting a bit low on gamer score, and I needed to get some quick points. So there's actually some quick ones, but I do happen to have a Cronus Max, which allows me to turbo my Xbox One controllers, and so essentially I just put like an elastic band over my controller, and it just presses X at a really, really fast rate. So I was just been leaving that on overnight and earning lots of money that way too. So as far as progress goes, I'm not really sure how to measure it. I think I'm up to like level 70 something in the game. I know there's hundreds and hundreds of levels, so I'm just idling it when I can be bothered.
Yeah,
but,
is it fun? I mean, is it like worth playing?
There is a certain strange addiction to going, right, well, I'll just build up enough money to get this next upgrade. Right, I got that. Okay, so I got through that bit. All right, I'll just wait until I've got enough money to get this next upgrade. And then I'll wait for enough money until I get this next upgrade. And it's just like but it'll only be another like a minute or so and I'll get that next one. Okay, wait. Okay, I've got that. Well, I can put it down now, but I could just wait another minute and get that next up. It's
Make It Rain in Hamster Universe. Yeah.
It's exactly the same as Make It Rain and that sort of style of game. So yeah, it's very easy to sit there and going, just one more, and you're not actually doing anything.
Sure,
it's just So it's a silly game.
I really like the resource management aspect of Make It Rain. I did not really like the swiping part. It was fun as kind of a
I got a bit sick of the swiping. Yeah. You can do some tricks with the Windows Phone version where you can project your Windows Phone onto your Windows screen and use a macro. Yeah, use a macro to do it. Yeah. But yeah, with the X button, turbo for Clicker Heroes, it's basically just a no-op game for me. Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm loving it, but it's certainly a game that just sits there and idles, and I'll get some achievements out of it eventually.
Interesting. smrnov, what is that on your list? Have you been?
No, well, it's on my list at some point. I mean, everything's on my list.
Everything's on your list.
My goal is to do everything, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Even Tiger Woods 06.
Well, that's glitched, so no. I screwed up on the putt right away, so yeah, I'm pretty much screwed there.
You can't get anything in it now. But.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. But the putt, as soon as you missed the putt, you were screwed. I kind of.
What, you couldn't get any achievements if you missed the putt?
No, we couldn't get completion. So I just kind of.
Oh.
For the amount of time the online required at that point, I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Wow. Okay. Know that.
JJ Aldana wonders if this show is ever going to go full on dirty language. But like you can beep it and censor it out because he said there was a SpongeBob episode where all the characters are cussing, but it's all censored. What? I've never seen that SpongeBob.
SpongeBob can do it weekend too.
We can, but I have to edit it, so no.
Now, to be honest, I'm thinking like my intention, and I don't know if I'm actually going to do it, but now that broadcasting to Beam is in theory so much easier. I intend on, streaming a little bit more, and I cannot promise that I'm going to keep it clean when I stream.
Oh, if I stream, there's no way I'll be keeping it clean.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't interact with games that way.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So,
or people, or the world.
I feel like I'm the only person who doesn't yell at my screen when I game.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You shut the beep up.
No, I absolutely will let him fly.
I was getting a little bit riled up when we were playing Sports League, though.
Oh, that game will make you very tense. Trust me, I know you will.
I know it is. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's in a great way too. And it was like a cheering yell. But not quite.
And then when something bad happens,
you'll
get mad.
Excitement for me.
Hey, Freem, we have talked about having a Z to Z After Dark spin-off at some point.
There you
go. With a couple of notables that we could basically just have a full-on no-holds-barred episode or series at some point. But
right.
we haven't really chased that one much further, but we should revisit it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that could be a Patreon thing. That could be that show could be for our Patreon patrons.
Yep.
There you go.
Pay for the swearing.
Yep. you donate each month and you get cussing. What an incentive.
But really intense cussing, so it's okay.
It's overtly obscene. Yeah, right. JJ Aldana also asks, what are your thoughts about Windows 10 gaming? Do you think there's a future there? Because he just built a nice gaming PC. Hey, you know what? You should go to Beer Me and tell him the rig that you just bought. He says, and getting achievements on that would be wonderful. So what's your take? I mean, come on. They just did win the UWP. Like, they're really trying, right?
Can I say my recent
so awful though?
Can I say my recent annoyance with this? Okay. Because my computer here is pretty beefy. I unfortunately can't play Halo 5 Forge, which I really wanted to do. I need a better video card for that. But I do play a lot on different platforms. And so I've been playing a very select few of Windows 10 games. But there are lots and lots of Telltale stacks on Windows 10. And I love the Telltale games, so I want to play them. So, I sauntered into the chat and I said, hey, Windows 10 games, do they ever go on sale? Apparently not.
Nope.
They do not go on sale. So I have to pay the full price for all these games that I've already played on 1 to 2 platforms already. I'm a little annoyed with Windows 10 gaming. It's there. There's some stuff to play. You're going to have to pay full price pretty much all the time.
More than full
Can you
price.
get those in a bundle, though? Do they do a bundle of the Telltale games?
I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
I just bought The Walking Dead season 1 and 2 in Canada, and it was $31.99. So there you go. For each one.
My goodness.
Yeah. Oh, each one.
Wait,
Each one. Yep.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
obscene.
Yeah.
So they bumped up the price for the Canada store on Windows 10 then?
Yeah. Well, even the Xbox store's higher too now. But yeah.
Oh, is there? Maybe I'll have to finally switch over to the US because I've been sticking it out in Canada on my account because it's always been cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the other side of that. I think Damien on the last episode was talking about Windows 10 games that share achievement lists with Windows 10 and Xbox One, and that the swapping between the two is actually pretty seamless. So I guess there is a positive there for those sort of games, but maybe not necessarily for Windows 10 exclusives.
I think my view on it is the only way it has a future is with Play Anywhere. I think Play Anywhere is great, and if you buy it digitally on one platform and get it on both, that's good. But the Windows Store is so bad. Like, just even for like Windows 8 stuff that's just it's just like doing anything just takes forever, and it just chugs, and it's slow, and it's more overburdening DRM that nobody wants to go through.
Yeah,
I think my issue with Windows in general is that because I'm always pretty much on OS X, I'm a Mac person. And if I do go into Windows, it's either I reboot into it or I've run it in a virtual machine. But the problem is that I happen to boot it up so infrequently that every time I do, as soon as I start to use it, it goes, "You've got 23,000 updates to install. You can't do anything until this happens." It's like,
Okay, well, to give the other side of that, somebody who's running an updated version of the software, both the store and the Xbox app, which by the way is fantastic on Windows 10, work really well. I've had no problems with them. The problem is there's not much to play. But here's the thing, Randy. I'm very surprised to hear you say that, and I'm curious how everybody else feels. Play Anywhere, that whole platform that they're going with, not great for us achievement people. I would rather play it on the Xbox, then play it on the PC, and then play it wherever else I want, and get different lists and different achievements.
I think it works well. The concept of it works really well.
Yeah.
But it is bad for achievement hunters in the sense that we lose stacks. So yeah.
And I'm not saying for me personally, I'm just saying in general to appeal to normal people to keep this thing alive. to keep gaming on Windows 10 alive.
The norms.
The only way that it even stands a tiny little fraction of a chance of it surviving to compete with against the giant that is Steam. And I hate Steam, and it is superior to the Windows Store in like every way. That's the only way. Is you get it. You just happen to also be able to play it on your PC when you're on the go when you buy it on your Xbox.
Right.
It's just. I mean, look at what happened with Call of Duty that released on Windows 10 with a separate list. It was not Play Anywhere. The population was so low on the first day you couldn't even get into a match. They refunded people that bought it because there was nobody playing it because everyone bought it on Steam. Because it wasn't the same version. There was the Xbox One version, there was the Windows 10 version, and then there was the Windows version. That was the Steam version.
Yeah, and almost everybody got the Steam version, and they couldn't play against people who had the Windows 10 version because different games.
Separate games, separate servers. It's just, and a game that big can't even sell enough copies on day one to get a multiplayer match going. I don't see any future in that at all as a standalone thing. Just as a supplement to an Xbox One is the only way it could go anywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to supplement Xbox One.
I'm kind of with you. I think the same thing. Final question comes from Beer Me, of course, and he asks, what is your favorite alcoholic beverage? Do you got one? Do you guys like alcohol?
I don't drink anymore, but when I used to drink, it would be Bailey's and that sort of ilk.
Yo, gotcha. I've started to really like those, and they're just awful for me because they're so sugary. But those hard ciders and like apple Angry Orchards and stuff, like I can drink those like candy.
Good stuff.
Which is not good, but. I kind of drink everything. I got to stay away from the hard stuff because I tend to, black out and get, do stupid things. So, that's not very smart.
You go chase the kids in your backyard with your pants off.
Yeah, we need to save that for the Z to Z After Dark.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Blackout stories with Freem.
Yeah,
I'm a vodka person. That's my poison.
Sure.
And I
but
do
you don't
not
like potatoes.
I don't like potatoes. That's true. I also don't like beer at all. In fact, I can't. Unless it's an extreme situation, I can't even get a beer down.
Oh, great! There goes Beer Me now. He's going to stop listening to the show because of you.
Well, no. He can have my beers. So it's
gotcha.
I will beer him. I'll give him all the beer. It works. It works out.
At least 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
What about you, Randy? Steven, you guys have?
I don't drink alcohol, so
I'm a Canadian whiskey guy.
No.
I like.
There you go.
Makes
sense.
Is Canadian whiskey a bourbon or is it a?
Bourbon has to be.
Is it a real whiskey?
It's a rye, mostly rye based. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
Nice.
I thought it was sap based.
Yeah.
No, is that not
They've been doing some really good things with maple actually lately, in some of them.
Interesting.
Well, so we need to come up with a question of the week. I'm going to read we had an iTunes review back on March 2nd that I need to read. So you guys kind of think about what you might want as question of the week. But we had Kilgore21 says, great work from, sorry, I'm having a hard time reading this. There's a couple maybe spelling things. Great show for folk who want to, who enjoy going out and hunting for Gamerscore. They have a good group of guys with different opinions and views, which helps them looking at games from different points, especially. It got me a recent jolt of wanting to get more points. Thank you guys and keep it up. So Kilgore21, thank you so much for taking some time to give us a review on iTunes. We absolutely appreciate it. So while I went through all that, do you guys have a favorite question of the week?
Yeah, I was thinking this as we were discussing it, and I think the question from New York Giants for SBS regarding the point scale system, I think that sparked off one of our more interesting discussions this episode. What about you guys?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
New York Giants, we'll talk to you in Titanfall. You are our winner of the week. Nice work. Hey, it's time for our recap. Before we go, we want to give an awesome send-off to Smirnov. Thank you so much for being part of the show. It's getting late for him, but we're hoping that, if you guys liked it, well, we had fun talking to him, but we make semi-regular thing of it. Might as well have somebody who scored some gamer score on here. Actually, Tarragon, you got some gamer score too, but anyway.
Couple.
Yeah, a few here. Speaking of gamer score, what kind of gamer score did you get into this week? You've been a busy little beaver.
Me? Well, yeah, so the last couple of weeks. Well, first things first, I just wanted to actually give a shout out to a comic book, believe it or not. I started reading the Injustice comic, which is sort of set as a prequel for the game, and it's actually really, really good. And I actually want to start playing the game now again, because, so I might be having a fight stick purchase in my future to try and play that game, because it's impossible to play on a regular controller.
Is it a prequel to the new game, or is it a prequel to the whole series?
It's a prequel to the original game, the one that I'm reading. I think there is another comic which is a kind of gap filler between the first game and the second. Okay. But I haven't really sort of chased that up yet. But yeah, the comic is really good. I recommend it if you're a comic book person and happen to like the DC universe. It's a very interesting take on it. Which I won't say anything more about because spoilers. It's very hard to say anything about it without spoiling it. Other than that, Titanfall is probably a big highlight. This would have been my highlight for the last week, which is I got all the hardware finally. Yay!
Hey, nice work.
And I'm basically, I think, done with that game. Although, ironically, guess what turned up on my random to-do list this month?
Gen 10, isn't it?
Gen 10.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I thought I saw that. That's funny.
I don't have to play this game again. Oh, damn it. But I don't think I'll be bothering for that one. It's just, too much of a grind. So a few other games of note that I played. Q. Have you guys ever played Q? Just the game, single letter Q, the impossible to search for on TA game.
But it seemed, it caught my eye when it was first released because it was so weird, like the number of achievements and the values and stuff. Something about it.
Yeah, it is a very odd game. It's like got 99 achievements or something like that. But it's essentially, I think it was designed with the Kinect in mind, but you can play it without the Kinect, and it's probably recommended to play it without the Kinect. But essentially, it's you draw things on the screen, and then gravity takes effect, and you need to get certain things to happen. So, like, say, one of the levels I just completed recently was, make Alex stand up, and Alex is like an astronaut. Sort of, if you imagine what do you call it? Like just a little figurine, right? And he's on his back, and you've got to drop things on his leg to get him to balance and stand up. But if you do it too far, he'll fall over. So you've got to position your things to get him to balance in exactly the right way. So it's just basically a physics puzzler with drawing, and you draw on the screen, and you would normally use that with your hand with the Kinect. But yeah, lots and lots of really odd, obscure little Easter egg achievements in there. Most of them are really secret, and the names of them don't mean anything as to how you get them. So check the guides. Interesting game. If you're looking at completions, I probably wouldn't recommend it because it's a hell of a completion. But it certainly does have some interesting oddball achievements, and particularly if you're going for letters for things like the current GTASC bonus, which is for getting all of the letters, like achievements, for one achievement for each of the letters of Gankers Reloaded, they were the winners last year. This game has a lot of just easy pickings that you can get for those particular letters. So that's that. Nero Voider, which is a new game, popped up on our review account that I picked up. I was actually only looking at this just for the achievements again for Gankers Reloaded, just for the that bonus. But this game, it's an interesting game. It's like do you know the term roguelite as a description of a game? So it's essentially be randomly generated levels, and you've got a goal within each level, and you've essentially just got to keep going on and survive as long as you can, and you get random equipment, and but it's essentially like a little sort of bot shooter. So you're a robot, you can pick one of like 3 chassis to start the game with that each have this sort of baseline abilities, and you pick then a particular kind of level, which is based on, sort of essentially difficulty. And the more difficult the level is, the better the loot you'll get, of course. And you have to go through and shoot these reactors, and then you can teleport out. I thought,
because I watched Jack play it on the TrueAchievements stream, and I thought the loot had its own gauge. Like it was how the size of the level, the difficulty of the enemies and the amount of loot, and they were like 0 to 5 scale. And so
maybe they did. I thought it was.
generated.
I thought it scaled up with the difficulty as well.
Well,
so,
I don't know if that's like quantity of loot or like if you get, because the elites, if those are really high, like maybe you get less loot. Like if it's a low loot, but you get better loot. I don't know. Yeah,
it could be. So yeah, it's an interesting game. I only got a few achievements in it, but it might be a game I'd go back to or consider going back to because it's. I
thought it looked cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And it's basically, it sort of works like a twin-stick shooter in essence. So you directionally point, you top down, directionally point and shoot. So we'll see.
Well, it kind of reminded me of Diablo 3, the way I'm playing it, with a mage, who just has just a twin-stick shooter, essentially.
Yep, he's point shoot.
Yep.
Wheels of Aurelia, or however you say it, I don't know. They never say it in game. That game, I needed ease for the Gankers Reloaded, and that has a lot of ease because there are about 15 or 16 endings, and all of the achievements related to those are ending A, ending B, ending C. So great for ease. And playing through it, it's essentially a visual novel with some
conversation.
It's essentially conversation with some mild interaction. There's some of the endings require you to like chase down something or something like that. So there's a little bit of interaction in the driving mechanism, but generally you can just ignore it. Each playthrough is probably about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes you can get through. So it's pretty quick. It's a bit of an odd game.
I listened to the interview of Chris Charla on the TXR podcast, and he was talking about, they asked him about what games he was interested in or whatever, and he's like, well, the beauty of the ID program about why Xbox really isn't curating lists is because they don't want to tell people what to like because people have different tastes and stuff. And he's like, so if you want and he mentioned some game. If you're looking for a fun first-person shooter on a small scale, whatever, then this game might be for you. And he's like, and if you want a story experience in 1970s, whatever, and he explained Wheels of Aurelia, and I'm like, I don't want that. Like, that does not sound like a game that I would enjoy.
Maybe someone does.
Yeah, well,
maybe somebody wants a quality game with hand-drawn graphics in crayon, that's a racing game, and it's also very story-driven.
There's no accounting for taste is essentially what we're trying to say here.
Who would come out with a game like that? I mean, if only somebody had made a game like that.
Right. I've been waiting for that game all my life, Randy. If only somebody would make it.
Exactly. Only somebody would put that on Xbox.
Yes. So Wheels of Aurelia, it's an odd game. It's an interesting game. I think it is sort of I would find it interesting to explore it, but it is also very easy achievement-wise. So yeah, if you're looking just for achievements and want to race through it, do it. But if completely narrative-driven story games are not your thing, then this is not the game for you. Blast and Bunnies, that's a very, very, it's pretty much what it says on the tin. You, what do you call these ones? It's basically a turret shooter. So you are stuck in the middle and you turn around in this thing and shoot lots and lots of bunnies that come attacking you in various different ways, and you've got to try and last as long as you can. I looked at this is kind of one of those pick up and play and put down kind of games because there's a lot of really grindy achievements that you just will work towards. No matter what you're doing in the game, you will work towards these particular achievements, like killing 10,000 blue bunnies. That's one of the achievements, and you might kill 100 or 200 of those in one run. So yeah, you're not going to get it quickly, but if you keep playing it over time, you'll get there. It had a couple of achievements that I was close to, which I used for the Gankers Reloaded this week, so that was pretty handy. And I think I had one on my random to-do list, which I picked up as well. So or at least there's one on my current to-do list that I'm working towards. So yeah, I played a bit of that. It's pretty fun, but it can get a bit mindless and repetitive after a while. So take it in short bursts, and I think that's what it's sort of set up to do. Dead Rising 2, I dived this. The Xbox One version of it anyway. I had the 5,000 kills on my random to-do list for last month, and I got that in just at the 11th hour, so that was good. Also got a bunch of other achievements along the way, just because I had to sort of build up to the right point in the game where it's easy to get zombie kills. So, yeah, I went and leveled up a bit. Clicker Heroes, we sort of touched on that earlier. Actually, did we? We were off air, weren't we, when we were talking about that? Was that?
No, that's a question.
No, we were on it. That's yep. So I won't delve into that. Now, I just wanted to mention this because it actually came up on my feed. I had an achievement in Tinker. So Tinker was a free game for games for Windows Live. Of course, you can no longer get it because the marketplace is down for purchasing. But I got this achievement, which was for doing 10,000 moves in Tinker. So I've automated that, obviously. Of course. But it popped up on my feed and somebody asked me about how I got this to work because, I think that person was under the impression that the Games for Windows Live was basically dead or that you couldn't sort of unlock anything on there anymore. So I just wanted to make it absolutely clear that, yes, Games for Windows Live still does work and you still can get achievements. And in fact, I did some in Tinker. I also did some in Misplosion Man, which I got from Steam as it is, and Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, which I had also gotten from Steam. So both of those are still available and will still work if you buy the Steam versions. Misplosion Man, you have to tinker with it a little bit. There is an option there in the beta options to turn Games for Windows Live back on. I think it was Misplosion Man that did that. Now, one game that you can't, or at least I couldn't get it to work, was Small Soldiers. I bought that off the Steam Marketplace thinking that I could get the Games for Windows Live functionality working, but apparently they've taken that option away, so that seems to be a game that might be out of reach now, unfortunately. Moving on, here's my Japanese game corner. Dream Sea Club, which is essentially... now, in Japan, there is this concept of hostess clubs, which are essentially places that men can go and sort of date women, but the women still work there. It's not anything more than just chatting, but it is basically places that men can go and talk to women and talk. That's pretty much all there is to it. So Dream Sea Club is based around this kind of concept that you are bored with your life and you are walking down and you see this new club has opened up called the Dream Sea Club and you go in there and start dating these women, essentially. So it's a dating simulator game. But it is, all, of course, all completely in Japanese. And this makes, given that it's a very conversation-based game, this makes this a little bit tricky for me.
Are you just, Casanova in the Sea Clubs?
Yeah, it's kind of the idea. But, I don't even know. So fortunately, there are a few. I found a few pages which kind of give me a few guides and tips on, okay, if they say this random Japanese phrase, then you should respond with this random Japanese phrase. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'll very carefully scrutinize all the characters and make sure that's the one that I want. But I had an achievement pop up on my random to-do list last month related to this, so I was looking into it. I unfortunately didn't get that one, but yet another achievement of Dream Sea Club has appeared on my random to-do list this month. And it's actually a harder one because I need to actually get through. There's 2 characters in the game that you can't interact with until you get 35 achievements in the game itself. So I'm going to need to actually unlock a lot more achievements. Yeah, it's achievement tied. So yeah, I have to unlock another 30 achievements in the game, which basically means getting most of the endings for a lot of the other characters, and then I can get access to this character, which I can then go through and fill out their profile. There's the thing in it. There's basically a profile where you've got information like their measurements and their blood type and their age and birth date and all that sort of stuff, favorite food and all that sort of kind of crap. And you've got to try and fill out these profiles. There's achievements tied to getting all of the details in the profiles. So not only do I need to unlock a whole bunch of achievements to get access to this particular character, I also need to go through all of the particular criteria of getting these particular bits of information out of them. And so they have to be drunk when you ask them this question, or you have to be drunk when you ask them this question. There's some weird things going on there. It's a pretty bizarre game. Yeah, if you're a fan of bizarre dating sim games like I am, then you might like that one. But it's a funny one.
Sounds weird.
It is. So the other games that I was basically going through a bit of a dive streak of Japanese games. So I dived the Japanese versions of Overlord, Armored Core Verdict Day, Duke Nukem Forever, Army of Two, the 40th Day, and the Dead Island Riptide, which has a Japanese stack on the Xbox 360. So that was sort of interesting just to go through those. Most of those were pretty quick. So Duke Nukem Forever is literally just draw on the whiteboard you see after the very first cutscene. And the other two notables was Mass Effect Andromeda and Mass Effect 2. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned that I got the story finish on Mass Effect 2 Japan, and for whatever reason, even though I know for a fact that my character in that game is imported from Mass Effect 1, the achievement, which is supposed to unlock when you complete that game, didn't unlock. So, and that was the one that was on my random to-do list. So I was like, okay, well, I have to go through the entire game again with this character, and I just wasn't going to do that. I didn't have enough time in the month really to be able to do that. So that was unfortunate. But and yeah, I've of course obviously started Mass Effect Andromeda, and I'm basically I'm still quite overwhelmed with the size of it. It's a massive game, and I'm kind of just taking it in small doses. I've also haven't had a lot of time to really focus on one particular game the last few weeks. So I've just been sort of drip feeding, doing just little missions and side missions and things like that in that game because it's so huge.
How far are you into it already?
I have I've settled on EOS, and I'm just in the bit where I've sort of gone back to the Nexus, and there's the next steps that happen after that. So
sure.
It's kind of like the very first expansion, like the first sort of expanded part of the Nexus. So like I think when you very first get to the Nexus, it's very limited. There's only a sort of small area you can go to, and then I can now go to all these other different areas. So, I'm sure I'm only like a 0.05% of the way through the game as far as that goes, and I'm just getting kind of stuck on all the side missions, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm just basically, it's the kind of game I don't want to rush, and I don't want to look at the achievement list. I just want to, take it in little bursts and just enjoy it for what it is, rather than worry too much about all of the other stuff that's going on. But I will take a look at the multiplayer stuff and those missions, which we alluded to. I think that was off air. I'm talking about the Apex missions, and there's an app you can use to set those up. So this is what the achievement for 5 and 25 Apex missions.
5 and 25, and it's very similar to how Mass Effect 3 was set up. There was also an app for that you could also kind of do a similar thing. So it's not unusual. It's it's pretty standard. It's the standard.
Not unusual to be.
I was thinking the same thing. I heard the song in my head too.
It's the standard wait X amount of hours to send your people on missions, and it's just
Assassin's
more convenient.
Assassin's Creed does
exactly.
do the same thing with it.
It's more convenient to put it on your phone because you're not always near your Xbox, and it's nice to just be able to be like, these guys are back.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
that's true.
Yep. So that was pretty much it. Me, I didn't manage to dive my 21 games last week. I just simply didn't have the time. But the week before that, I dived 21 games. But I will not be going through all of those. I may save that for another show. So speaking of Mass Effect, Prue, how are you finding it?
Oh boy, I kind of alluded to it before. Yeah, I don't want to get too far into it. I've been playing quite a bit. I'll say this. I'm just about level 25. I don't remember. I think quite a few hours in. I would say 3 times further than you are, Tarragon.
Yeah. I just wanted to know what do you actually think of the game, because it's been getting some mixed reviews, and there was one review I listened to. This review actually really surprised me because they were very, very negative about the game. And I hadn't seen enough of the game to really maybe see their point of view, but it just didn't really ring true with me. But yeah, I just wanted to see what your take on it was, how it compared to the previous games and that sort of thing.
It essentially feels like Mass Effect Light to me. The problem. Okay, man, what is the Pepsi beverage that Randy loves so much? Randy, help me, I can't remember.
Pepsi?
Crystal Pepsi. It feels like the Crystal Mass Effect. I'm teasing, of course.
Are you implying that Crystal Pepsi is inferior to Pepsi?
I actually don't know how I feel about that, so I wouldn't say that. I'd have to think about that. But anyways, I'm a massive fan of Mass Effect. Huge fan. The biggest. You're not going to find a bigger fan of Mass Effect than me. Anyways, and I'm kind of wrestling.
I think Joe may argue with you on that.
Well, that's fine. Well, we talked about it a little bit last week, and unfortunately, we didn't actually get to go into the depth that I expected or wanted to. We kind of got sidetracked with other stuff.
We kind of got sidetracked in that one, didn't we?
Yeah. The more I play the game, the more it's clear that the way the game was designed was to be just like Mass Effect. Like it doesn't push forward in a lot of ways. It hits all the same beats, all the same character tropes, all the same mission types, all the same kind of sort of thing. It's very clearly structured after what Mass Effect does, but beat by beat specifically. And I don't want to give anything away, but you come into you come into this place, and there's all this new stuff, and now you're granted this new title, which carries with it a lot of responsibility, importance. And then now you have to go out into the world and use that new responsibility to do all of this stuff.
Out into the universe.
Yep. Universe, right.
Galaxy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like the Batman Arkham Origins of Mass Effect.
So
I haven't played Arkham Origins.
Okay. So. I mean, I've only played the multiplayer, but from what people say, it's kind of like just the same. Like it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
I would definitely. I would not compare it to
Tarragon,
Arkham Origins.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. I think from what I can see of it and just taking on board a lot of the criticism of the game, I would say that it is essentially they've taken everything that they've got right so far with the Mass Effect series, and then they said, okay, we need to make it much, 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 much bigger. And in doing so, that has become the entirety of the game, and the big epic sort of things that set aside or set Mass Effect originally on its path of being this awesome thing, whilst they're there, they're getting lost in the noise of so many other things that are going on in the game. That's the only thing I've sort of felt at the moment is just there's just so many things to focus on and do, and so many complex sort of research things to do, and armor and weapons and all this other stuff that you're kind of going, wow, I can't absorb all of this stuff at once. So I guess that'd be my only criticism. That's not to say that I'm not enjoying it, because I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I guess it does. The story so far seems fairly safe in where it's going, and the expansion of it, the sheer mass of things that you can do and how big things are is what I think is the improvement, I guess, is what's changed. So I don't know how you feel about that, Prue.
It's just like they pulled the massive world-esque part of it. They pulled directly from Dragon Age Inquisition. I mean, it's essentially where that came from, I feel like, and which is fine. I have no problem with that. And what you're saying, Tarragon, is true. My criticism is that it's not in any way doing anything different. And let me state up front, I'm enjoying the game. I'm not having a good time with it. It's fun. It's the story as it is well written. It's retreading old ground at this point. And it's not doing anything tremendously different. I've done this before, I don't know, a half a dozen times really at this point through playing Mass Effect. And they're not coming up with anything that's really intriguing me. These characters aren't compelling the way that I found the first group of characters. They're not compelling, I suppose I should say, but it's not the same. And when I was talking to some friends, they're like, well, here's the thing, maybe are you steeped in nostalgia for the old Mass Effects? And if I'm to be totally honest, maybe that's part of it, but there's also, it's kind of lost its specialness. It just feels so samey to the rest of the Mass Effect universe It doesn't feel like there's anything original that these people came up with. It's literally, let's plug in this character for this character. Let's plug in this situation for this situation. And now we have a big bad. We have an ancient technology that's coming back. We have, it's not.
Spoilers, man. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. it just isn't. That's my frustration with it.
There's a bad guy?
Yeah, there's in fact a bad guy.
You've ruined it for me.
I know. I'm sorry. Anyways, we're spending a bit of time here. So I'll try to move on. Here's the long and short of it is, it's a good game. No doubt about it. It's not bad at all. It's just, and again, we were talking about reviews and review scores earlier. It doesn't have that specialness that Mass Effect had. Maybe it's me, maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's whatever, but.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is really just, it's a problem in any sequel, any fourth of a game is going to have. You've always got your first one, which is like, this is great, but could be improved. You've got your second one, which improves all of those things and is usually seen as the best of the series. And I'm thinking Mass Effect 2, and I'm thinking Assassin's Creed 2. And then you have the sequels, the follow-up from that, which are, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, seen as one of the best of that sort of ilk. Mass Effect 3, which had its criticisms, but was still, on par, not considered better than, but usually pretty highly rated as a game. And then the fourth, which, you talk about Assassin's Creed Revelations or Assassin's Creed 3 versus Mass Effect Andromeda, where something just got kind of lost along the way. So I'm just wondering if it's really sequelitis. It's kind of one of those issues that sequels have, trying to maintain the momentum and also be better and bigger than the game that was before.
But
possibly to its detriment.
This is an opportunity for them to start a new story, though. So they're not really.
I would argue
they're taking concepts, but
you would think so. Except I think what they're doing is that they're going, well, let's tell the same story in a slightly different way because we're resetting the universe. Whereas from Mass Effect 3, it was going to be pretty difficult to continue on from that point. Without saying anything about how that game ended, and there were 3 or 4 different ways that could end. To continue on from any one of those particular endings would have been a very different game or a different world.
For sure.
Whereas Andromeda is essentially, okay, well, how do we continue on from Mass Effect 3? Oh, we can't really, so let's just reset and then tell much the same kind of story and the same kind of tropes, which is really also a big problem with science fiction storytelling, is that they often tell the same kinds of stories and have the same kind of problems. I mean, how many space movies have you seen where some disaster happens and then they have to try and save the ship from that?
It feels like too many recently.
It feels like pretty much every single space movie is going to have some kind of major disaster, and then we all try and survive while half the crew dies. It's just, that's one of those tropes, and I guess that's the point of tropes.
Yeah, I would. The only thing is, I would say that Andromeda doesn't suffer from sequelitis; it suffers from reboot-itis. In the fact that we are literally retreading the same path we've done before. You can say Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3 maybe changed things up too much, or like the debate we had with Dead Rising and Dead Rising 2 and stuff like that. That's sequelitis. That is, how true do we stay to the original, or how much do we deviate from that? Well, this is different because this is, in a lot of ways, in a lot of significant ways, almost identical, beat for beat, hit for hit. We're doing the same stuff we did before. As Freeman mentioned, why not do something totally different? Like, literally, the premise of the game is going to a completely different galaxy. We do not need to do the same thing here. We can totally change it up. That's my frustration with the game. Again, I'm not going to be negative on it. It's not a bad game by any stretch. It's just kind of where I'm at with it. And I'm maybe 40% through the game. It could change. Things could really be switched up. Things could go way off the handle and do crazy new stuff. My point is,
one of the more funny criticisms of the game I heard was basically saying, I don't like Alien Sudoku. And it's like, really? That's your criticism?
It is obnoxious, actually. I will admit that is an obnoxious part of the game.
It's just like, of all the things, it's like, okay, every other Mass Effect had these little puzzly bits and they were just like side side games.
Sure,
it's like
totally,
mini games. Totally. It's like, come on, really? That's your criticism.
There is. I will say this, and this is not a spoiler by any stretch of the imagination. This has all been in the promotional materials and stuff. But if you're really, really worried, plug your ears for 10 seconds, 30 seconds. There's a joke that's made in the game from characters talking about the Nexus, which is essentially the giantest space station ever. It is the Citadel of the new game. And he goes, one of the characters says, you know what the Nexus needs? It needs a lake. All big space stations need a lake. And it's like, yeah, I get
With
it.
fish or without?
Yeah, you get the joke, but okay, I think you guys know that you're kind of where we're at here. Anyways, I'm going to move on. Played Andromeda. Yep. I'm going to keep on it. Again,
sci-fi thing.
I'm still enjoying it, and I just have some issues with it. It's not perfect, which no game is, of course. Moving on. Randy and I have been making our way through Star Trek, which is awesome. Stop it. Which is awesome fun. And we're just about
Hang on. So is that Mass Trek?
Yeah. We are we're about to beat it. Our first run. We have to do 2 runs. So
it's a really bad game.
Yeah, I've heard it's a really bad game.
It's worse than I was expecting it to be.
It's a little buggy. It can be a little buggy.
It seems to be
a little
buggier as we go
a little
on.
buggy.
Like, because at first it was just like space bugs, like graphics, just graphic space bugs. Now it's like, I mean, there have been a few times where like I've just died for no apparent reason, like, or I'll just like get squished through the map and then just die. The last session we played.
So it's true to the 1960s Star Trek then.
Wait, in a lot of ways it is.
And then, I took out my transmorpher to scan the space lizard, and then my gun disappeared. So I was aiming nothing. So I went out to zap him so we could take him out. And I just held my hand out in the air. There was no gun in it, so I couldn't shoot. And it just didn't. And then, of course, he saw me and turned around and killed me. He's
as a space lizard does, right? Yeah, for sure.
It's a big space lizard.
Particularly when you point your hand at it.
Yes, absolutely. I went pew pew pew, and nothing came out. My space gun was gone.
I can confirm. Randy actually said pew 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 in the middle of the game. So
I bet.
Okay, so
that's how you get them to work, right?
So we've been playing, and by the way, not a connected enabled game by any stretch of the imagination.
See, I feel like we should stream me playing Space Trek with you because of my commentary all the time.
No, we should not do that. We should never encourage that behavior in any way.
I mean, it could go viral and we could get like 10,000 new listeners.
That's the wrong kind of virus. That's like herpes.
Space virus.
Space herpes. Anyways, I'll finish out this part of the list with the stuff I've played with Randy since he likes to tease me here. He was doing Halo 4, so I jumped on. We got a couple of achievements. He finished it out, but I'll let him talk about that. We were playing Star Trek when the new random to-do list achievements came out. So of course, we had to stop everything we were doing and go for the new stuff. And we
had to take out all the space lizards first. I didn't catch.
Well, we took the ones out in the mission that we were in, and then we jumped over to Cameo, played a couple of co-op bosses,
which is a terrible game, by the way.
Yeah, it's not great.
People talk so highly of that.
Somebody stood up for Cameo. Was it you, or was it somebody else that stood up?
Not me.
No,
I never played
stood
it.
up for it right before we played.
I didn't think the hatred you had for it was deserved. Now, actually, since we went back to it, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so we played that, we beat it. And now we're making our way through. I got a Rock Band 1 achievement on my random to-do list. I only had 4 left, and this is for beating score attack or whatever, tag mode, whatever it is. Tug of War, thank you. So we're working on that. Other than that, standard stuff, Halo Master Chief Collection, Titanfall, of course, on Thursdays. That is always good. Good fun. Good times. Played Left 4 Dead on Wednesday with a bunch of community members. What the Fug, Skeptical Mario, and Fufu, and we did it. Listen, this was an achievement that I struggled with when this game first came out. Beat a campaign on expert. It is tough. That is a tough achievement. It is not easy to do.
You did the glitch, right?
We did the glitch, and it works. And it works great. So we're hoping that we can get through the remainder 3 chapters and then be done with that game.
So that glitch, if those who don't know that we're talking about, is where one person you play through on easy, and then at the finale of the end, everyone else jumps on, switches to expert, and then you just hold on for dear life.
Yeah, you get to the final checkpoint of the mission. Everybody drops out except the host, and when they call for the horde, on the final part of the mission where you have to get to the exit point, everybody jumps back in, change to expert, call for a vote to change to expert, and then just run to the finale. It's not foolproof because there's lots of bad guys and stuff, but it's much, much easier than trying to make it through that whole mission on expert. It's really, really a tough thing. So we've been working on that. Other than that, I got one other game. I played ACA Neo Geo Fatal Fury, which I played from start to beginning on Sunday. These games are easy but frustrating. And what's worse...
Easy-ish. Some of them are a bit fiddly.
Yes. Yeah. What's worse than a fighting game? I don't know, like a 30-year-old fighting game. So I don't know. They're not designed for me because I just want to throw my controller every time something doesn't work right. But I did the whole 1,000, and that's what I've been playing this week. Sorry, it's been a little long-winded talking about Mass Effect.
Not a problem. I forgot one more thing off my recap, which was getting Freemhole, the gamer tag challenge. Now that's fine. I usually get it every month anyway, but this month was notable because every single letter that I got was from a game that I dived. So I just wanted to put that out there.
There you have it. What about you, Randy? Did we get to you yet?
Not yet. So as Prue mentioned, finished up Halo 4. Which was a lot easier than I expected because there's a trick, and I'm very happy I read the guide after spending like an hour on that level, because this saved me like 10 hours, probably. So if you've completed the game on any difficulty, you can load up the last checkpoint of any level and complete it on Legendary, and it counts as completing the whole level. So it only cares when you finish that when you cross that finish line, what difficulty you're on. So you can load
as long
up.
as you started the checkpoint and it's okay.
Yeah,
is that Halo 4 actual Halo 4, or is that Halo 4 from the Master Chief Collection?
Halo 4. I don't know about Master Chief Collection. I'm not.
I can test that
game. Yeah. So that saved me a ton of time because I really don't like playing Halo on Legendary. The only one that I kind of enjoyed a bit was Reach. Just, I don't know, I felt like Reach was a little bit more fair. Not that Halo is really bad about being like, it's not like Call of Duty on Veteran or whatever. It is a lot more fair, but it's just annoying that,
have you done Halo 2 on Legendary?
Yeah,
that one's not fair.
I did Halo 2 on Legendary solo. I mean,
yeah,
it sucks. Like, but yeah, I don't remember.
It's the worst.
It was mostly the snipers in that one. Just not fair.
The snipers are dumb, and
the boss battle.
See, I think the thing with Halo 2 is I do remember the boss battle taking forever because it was stupid.
That one, there was a trick to that. You could actually get a what are they called? The flying things.
Oh, with the Banshee in it. I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've never actually
get a Banshee in there, and then it's actually pretty easy.
I think I just killed him, but I don't remember. I did Halo 2 in a much longer stretch, though, so I think that was kind of why. That was when I picked that over a couple of months, I think. So that's probably why it wasn't as frustrating. But yeah, Reach was okay. Halo 4 was really frustrating immediately, so I just kind of never really did it, and it just was not as fun in general.
Yeah, so if you wanted to hear me cuss, Halo 4, when I first got that game, I said, I'm going to start this off on Legendary. And the amount of swearing that came out of my mouth in those first few hours.
The second mission even is just, it's probably one of the harder parts of that whole game is on the second mission.
Yeah. Is that where you first meet the whatchamacallits, the progenitors, whatever they're called?
The stupid aliens. Yeah, that's what I call them.
Yep.
Because they're stupid.
It was actually the part in the Warthog, because there's a whole bunch of elites. You basically have no weapons and no cover, and there's this whole field of elites and runs and snipers in the tower, like in the towers. I don't know if they have actual sniper rifles, but they're like the sniper guys. And there's a ton of them, and they're everywhere. And like the only way to get through is to just run for it, because there's no way you can kill all of them. You just don't have the resources to do that on Legendary. And it's just so annoying. I mean, I spent like half an hour just trying to run past them, and it just comes down to getting lucky once where they don't hit you or whatever. Yeah. And that was frustrating. And that's why I'm really glad that I found the checkpoint, or that I read the guide and found, I guess, that glitch where you can just, I had already completed the game on co-op on Heroic, so I had all the checkpoints unlocked and I could load them up. So that was really nice. Got the crew back together for GTA 5. We did a heist. We did the prison with Prue and Fug. And I was hoping it was going to pop all of my heist achievements. It did not. So I will be redoing the heists. So that double import is not so great. I booted up a game I really love, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. And
I thought you were going to say Saints Row 4. Okay.
Not yet. We have to wait for your package to arrive. We finished all of the other ones. Okay. Banjo, Nuts and Bolts. I got the viral achievement in that one. That's all I did. And it, in the multiplayer, I was going to get out one of my famous swastika vehicles and show Prue. It timed out on me before I could pick the one I wanted.
It knows better.
I mean, I had to pick from like the swastika cage that is made with alternating swastikas, so it forms bars. What else did I have? I had like the super like war machine that can fly, it can swim, and it has like 1 million cannons on it. Of course, the classic that's just got wheels and propellers. So many choices, not enough time. It set me to some lame default vehicle. Very disappointing. I started Sports League.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Played some Sports League with Prue, and that was fun.
Okay, what exactly is Sports League?
Rocket League.
Rocket League. Oh, okay.
It's kind of like Sports Ball, but it's not quite. And I don't want to call it Sports Ball League, because that might get confused with Sports Ball. So
because nobody could possibly confuse Sports League with anything else.
No, absolutely not.
I'm glad you cleared that one up.
So Sports League is fun.
Yeah,
but the servers are super laggy and it sucks.
Which is unfortunate. Just to bring it up, because they have been buttery smooth for so long, right? And they just recently came out with this Drop Shot DLC, and they've kind of fumbled since it's happened. Something happened with it I was hitting really good. I mean, lag was never an issue for me in Rocket League, and it's been consistent. Like, I haven't had a really good match since that dropped. So it's frustrating. It's still playable, but it's. I
don't think it's got anything to do with the DLC. I reckon it's just because Crandy picked it up.
Oh, yeah.
It's very possible. See, that's what I was thinking. Like,
they don't. I don't think they have all weather servers. So I think that's
what they do is they probably rent servers from Amazon, and Amazon was like, "Hey, we hate this guy. He hates us. Drop that server power for everyone."
Yeah. Hey, I've been seeing the same thing in Pokemon Go ever since that water festival ended. the servers for that are just garbage right now.
Well, the servers for Pokemon Go have always been garbage, though. But
they were pretty good in the water festival. And here's the thing: it's like you could come up to a Pokestop and flick it, and it might hesitate a little bit, but eventually it would come and show you your things. Like right now, it's not even connecting to anything. It's like I don't know. I'm super frustrated with it, but is it spring cleaning? Are you getting all the dust out?
My biggest problem with Pokemon Go is logging in. It takes me 3 or 4 times of opening the app before it will actually do it, generally speaking. It'll just freeze like a quarter of the way through the loading bar, and then I just have to close it, reopen it, close it, reopen it. That's what I hate about Pokemon Go. Anyways, we're interrupting Randy on his recap at this point.
So Sports League. And I came up with my own signature move that is pretty nifty. It's gotten us a few bonus distance.
Yeah,
I jump up in the air and fly right at the tip off.
You rocket even. Yeah. You could say you even rocket right away.
Yeah. I wonder why they don't call it Rocket League. I mean, it's funny they call it Sports League. So yeah, Sports League, of course, we mentioned Space Trek and Cameo. I finished up Asphalt Overdrive, which was such a drag at the end. I've been like 30 minutes from completing that game for weeks, and I just didn't want to play it because it's just grinding out money for like an hour at every world, and it's so lame.
So hang on. So you were 30 minutes away, but you're grinding up money for an hour.
Well, no, I mean I had already put some time in. Right, it's just that much more to go. Well, the last level was like 2 hours because it was like, this is the last one.
Randy, that's called a preload.
That's called pay to win, is what it's called. Right. There, except you can't pay anymore because they took them all away. Not that I would have. And then the last one, which was kind of a pleasant surprise, was Transformers. So this is Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, there are a lot of Transformers games. I had a leaderboard achievement in this game on my random to-do list. And I was kind of thinking, I should probably go back to that. It's motivation to finish it because it's probably going to be bad like Transformers the game. And it turns out it's not bad. I've actually been enjoying this game, despite it being a movie game. I mean, it's not good. Like, I'm not going to say it's a good game, but it's not a bad game. It's good. It's very good for a movie game. So it's kind of split up into little like 5-minute levels. I think there's 23 in each campaign, and they're just kind of little 5-minute levels that are kind of meant to be done as quickly as possible. And then there's medals on every level for completing it as fast as you can or under a certain time, and you have to medal on each of those to get an achievement for each campaign. And that kind of setup is kind of perfect for a game like this because it means, you can recycle a lot of the same levels but have different objectives for like on the same map. But you can play as different characters, you can have different objectives, and because it's kind of like a speedrunning type thing, it adds a lot of replay to it. So you can use, obviously it's a movie game, it's going to be super rushed. You can use that rush development time and kind of stretch it a bit further, so it's not like a super lame linear game in that, it's kind of a little bit more open, but just kind of a little tidbit here and there. So I think they did a really good job with it for what it is. And it's actually been fun kind of chasing times on the leaderboards to get that achievement. And it's only to get in the top 1,000, so it's not super hard. But it's hard enough that you have to put a bit of time in and play the game to achieve it, so it still feels kind of like an accomplishment. So I was short for time on the random to-do list. I tried to get it just as, through playing normally and getting a really good time. But I ran out of time. So I just cheesed it at the end where you kind of just sit in a level. This wasn't for a time, this was for a score. So there's score leaderboards and time leaderboards where you just, stretch it out for as long as you can and kill as many. Like, this is a level where the enemies will keep respawning and just kill as many of them as you can before you run out of time. and then finish it up right before your time runs out to post to leaderboards. So that worked first try. And then just today, actually, I managed to post an even better time or an even better leaderboard result that would have got me the achievement today. So that was kind of fun. It's got some multiplayer too. I'm not really looking forward to doing it. It's easy, but it did have online multiplayer. So the controls are a little wonky for some of the stuff. It's generally good. If you do it, they're just weird. Like they work fine, but the control is weird. So it takes a bit of getting used to. But I am having fun with it. And it was kind of a pleasant surprise because I put it on my tag just for the leaderboard achievements. So I have all 3 of those now, and I'll probably finish that up this week. But that's it for what I've played.
All righty. Fantastic. Well, let me just finish up what I did quick. It's the end of the month, of course, so we just polished up the Gamertag Challenge with Overcook, Enigmatus, Eventide, Hyperdrive Massacre, Factotum 90. I finished Limbo. I had 3 achievements left in Limbo on the 360. Aside from doing the No Point in Dying, of course, so sitting at
11
of 12, yeah. 11 of 12, and 12 of 13 on both of those.
I still need to take you up on that challenge.
Who can do that?
No, I didn't. I thought I said I could do it in under 10 hours or something. I'm never playing it before. I need to try and do that.
If you just take your time, you could do it. I mean, it's not. I don't know. I don't have the patience for it.
Just do it.
I mentioned last week I finished Whispering Willows, so that locked down the gamer tag for me. I revisited some. Well, let me do this first. The NCAA MOCAS in March. I did what I could, and ultimately what it all came down to is I needed vowels badly. So I ended up diving 3 games, Jetpack Refueled, Blood Bowl 2, and Skyling Garden Defense, because they both had A's, O's, and U's, right, as the first achievement to get. So I locked down those. And then I wanted to play Hue, because Hue had an easy one, an A, for the first color that you get. I ended up playing that thing for way too long. I got like half of the achievements. That game is super fun. I really liked it. The achievements are very front-loaded on that one, and then once you get your color wheel, like, it gets serious. I mean, you got to be moving that color wheel around. The way it works is it's a black and white game, and when you find a color, you can then saturate the background with that color, and anything that matches that color essentially disappears. So if there's a blue box, and you turn the background blue, well, guess what? The blue box doesn't have any shape to it anymore. It's gone, and you can walk right through it. And so then once you get more colors, there'll be fun puzzles like, different colored boulders rolling down. So a blue boulder is rolling and you switch to blue, well, it disappears. But then behind it is the orange boulder. Okay, then you got a quick switch to orange so that the orange disappears and the blue one goes behind you. And, so it's just kind of mechanics like that, which are really cool, really clever. Actually, that guy, he True Achievements sends out the notification when you start a game, and the developer of that game saw that I started it and gave me the Twitter like. So that was kind of cool. But what that did lead to is, so those are just the real quick hitters. I wanted to just get a little bit more in the random to-do list. And so, like I mentioned, I played South Park. I got mastery on that one. So it was, maxed out one of the skill trees for the new kid. And then I also set up. So my son was sick this week. He got strep throat, and so he was out of commission for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And my mother-in-law came up and was watching the kids, and my mother-in-law and wife went out, and so I was at home. Had to go somewhere, but I had like 30 minutes. And he was kind of sleeping on the couch. My daughter was playing in the playroom. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna quick set up this little boost here. And it was in Toy Soldiers. And I knew it was backwards compatible. So I grabbed 2 controllers because, I just had to win a match in all of the multiplayer. And so I just set up some local dummy co-ops, and so I put the controller down, signed him in, my son's account in as the dummy, and then I went and loaded up the maps. Played the first one, easy, right? You set up some defense, you start sending waves, the other guy has no defense, and then boom, you win. Takes maybe 3 minutes to do a match. Okay, well, there's 5 matches, and so I start the second match up, and my son wakes up and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, what are you playing?" "Well, I'm Toy Soldiers." "Oh, yeah. Can I play?" No, you can't play. You see, we don't have enough time, and it is way easier to beat you when you're not touching the controller. So this is what we call a boost.
You're cheating.
And he's like,
Such a
"What?
cheater frame.
Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No. We can play a game when I'm done with this, but I'm getting this achievement, and then you can go do whatever you want. You can play this game, you can play a different game, but I am getting through this quick random to-do list achievement, and that is it." So I introduced him to the depravity that is multi-boxing, idle, co-oping, whatever you want to call it. Although I made it up to him. We did play some Zombie Vikings today. We'll talk about that in a Review Zed segment down the road. So the last thing I want to mention is, so because he was sick, he was at home and he got to play a few video games while he was there. And so I'd be at work and I would just be poking around, my True Achievement page or wherever. And all of a sudden, achievements start showing up. I'm like, "Oh, great." Well, he went and unlocked 5 achievements for me, 2 in Stickbold and 3 in Minecraft. And those are always just a fun surprise at work when all of a sudden you check your achievement list and, oh my gosh, there's some new things in there. That is delightful, isn't it? So,
it's particularly delightful when it's like, "Oh, somebody just started Let's Cheer on my tag." Oh, right. Great. I had a friend, an old Xbox friend who his girlfriend started up Let's Cheer on his tag by accident.
Oh,
he was really pissed. He was a guy who's got like 80+% completion percentage, so he was pretty angry about it.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, at least it's easy.
Well, it's not that easy actually. It's easy to get most of it, but then you have to really nail those cheers. So,
well, what a great way to become a cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Nice. All right. Well, before we move into Knobs and Discos, hey, it's a new month. Do you guys have plans for this month? What are you guys going to be working on? Randy?
Random to-do list.
Yeah, random to-do list.
So random to-do list. I really like my list this month. So I have not a lot, I have a few achievements, at least 3 that I can get, without having to complete the whole game. They fit my criteria, just kind of pick up and play type games. I got Gears of War 2, which I planned on finishing this month, possibly this weekend, if Jack's around. It's an easy achievement that I can just pick up whenever. I got 3 achievements in CNET Canada.
Oh, jeez.
So this is a
Good luck with that.
This is a really weird month because it doesn't seem random. It's because I got 3 in CNET Canada. And I'll be able to get at least 2 for sure. The third one I'm not as sure about because it involves doing a section perfectly. So we'll see how that goes. I got 2 in Saints Row 3 German version. Those should be pretty easy, and that's a generally pretty easy completion. So I'll probably make some progress in that. I got 2 in Superman Returns, which is a game I've kind of been hoping will come up because it's really bad. I put it on my tag in 2008 and haven't played it since because it was so bad.
It could be one of those games you come back to and love, Crandy. Don't.
Have you played Superman Returns?
Yes, I've played Superman Returns.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, that's like probably up there with Superman 64. Not quite that bad, but close. So that's motivation to go back and finish that. I got 2 in Frontlines Fuel of War, which were back to back on the list, which is a game I'll never complete and is really bad. I got 1 in Assassin's Creed 1, which is another game I've been hoping that I would get because that means it's on my list of, go back to and finish it off. For some reason, I always get one achievement in Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, so that's an easy one. See, this is just like the perfect list of games I've been meaning to go back to forever. Transformers the game, again, picked it up in 2008, played it once, never played it again because it was terrible. Terrible game. It's not like Revenge of the Fallen. It's bad. One that I thought was appropriate is I got the achievement for getting all the other achievements in Skylanders. So kind of how I do my random to-do list. It's just forcing me to do it. And then a couple others. But yeah, I got a lot of duplicates, which works out nicely for how I play, but is kind of odd just how many duplicates that I got given. I mean, my pool of achievements isn't that huge, but it's big enough that I feel like I should be getting more.
Well, yeah, I think the thing about random, and here I'm just going to go off a little tangent here. The thing about random is that something that's completely purely random will often not actually look random to us because we expect random to be completely different and completely off. Like there shouldn't be any of the same kind of thing that's not random. Whereas the thing is, that's just as random as anything else. Randomness is clumpy. Randomness is just as likely to give you 10 achievements from the one game as it is to give you completely separate achievements. That's just the nature of random. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that you've gotten duplicates like that because it was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just it doesn't. It just psychologically, it doesn't feel random, even though it actually is completely random.
I don't know. The other thing that adds to that too is I tend to get achievements from the same games all the time, and then there are other games that I have only a couple achievements in that have never come up. Like Scenic Canada, I get all the time. Saints Row the Third, I get all the time, but that one actually does have a pretty big pool. I think I only have one achievement in that game, but anyway, Guitar Hero every month. This is actually the first month ever that I have not gotten an achievement in Bloodstone. So that was good. Anyway, that's my random to-do list, and I'm going to be focusing on that a lot. The other thing this month is Prue and I were talking tonight about Minecraft and how it keeps getting updates and won't die on the 360. So we wanted to do a shout out.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that because it's actually hit the 99 achievement mark, and I don't think it can. Or if it hasn't, it's only got one left. So if it's going to expand anymore, I don't think it can actually go over 99 achievements.
You can go to 100. Pinball FX 2 has 100, but yeah,
okay. But there's a technical limit there that I think for that 360 games. I think it's about
because
to hit.
That was confirmed with Project Spark. They had a statement that they could not release any more achievements on the PC version because they had maxed it out. Or they hit 99 or something.
Do we not think that they could raise that at this point, especially for something that Microsoft owns? Now, would it be super easy?
They probably could if it's under the new achievement system, given that it's shared, a lot of that architecture is shared across Windows 10 now. With X1, I suspect that they would be able to do more. I think this was probably before. A bunch of those changes made it across to Windows.
I'm talking about Project Spark on Windows 8, not on Xbox One. Xbox One had about 150. Windows 8 topped out at 99.
But Windows 10, I don't think it'll have that limit.
Yeah, Windows 10 should be fine because it's the new stuff. But the 360 version only has 80 achievements, so it's good for another couple title updates. Anyway, what we're going to say is, if any listeners have a world that you would like to share with us or host for us where we can get all the achievements, that'd be pretty cool.
In any version, 360, One, mobile, Android, any version. Please.
Mobile is easy. You can just download
the mobile. The mobile and the Windows versions. There are worlds that you can just download and import. So
the 360 and One version, you need a host.
Okay.
But for me, I just need 360. I'm not going to start the One version, because I don't want to have to chase that down all the time. But if you have a 360 world, I don't really know what I'm doing in Minecraft, so
there's a tutorial. You just follow the tutorial.
Got a 360 world, and you want to hold his hand.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, if I'm going to play Minecraft, I just want to build stuff. I don't want to, like, fight the dragon. I just want to build stuff. I just want to build a big thing, dig a hole, and make some tools or something.
And make a tower of pimps. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anybody get that? Anyone? No one? Okay.
Nope.
Nobody watches Red versus Blue. Okay.
Oh, way back.
Rooster Teeth. Rooster Teeth did Let's Play, and then they'd had an ongoing Minecraft series, and they one of the things that you would win, like they would have like a challenge or whatever, or a game that they would play in their Let's Plays, and you'd win the Tower of Pimps, which was basically a block of obsidian with 4 blocks of gold on it.
That's a mini game now, isn't it?
I think it was. Yeah, they actually got imported directly into the game through some other thing. But yes, it's anyway. Side reference. Moving on. Other than random to-do lists and diving, I don't have much else planned besides Mass Effect Andromeda and the ongoing Elite stuff. The Elite 2.3 has just been announced as dropping on April 16th, so we'll see how that goes. There'll be probably a bunch of multi-crew based achievements to look out for, all being high ratio, of course, as they usually are, so we'll see. But yeah, no, not much else planned at this stage. I unfortunately didn't manage to keep up with my planned dive tally this week, although I've still got a few hours left today, but I've got to keep my eye on the GTASC. Speaking of which, Freem, you didn't mention your GTASC, and you, Crandy. God, you keep quiet here.
It's the competitions update.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I'll let that.
And I did mention it at the start of last show. But you're right. I did say we would talk more about it. I don't want to talk more about it.
Okay.
I mean,
we lost. We're out.
I saw it coming because I mean we had struggled 2 weeks prior. And
it's just you were so close though. It was unfortunate.
Yeah, that was.
You were ahead about an hour before the cutoff, and
I thought we were going to make it because I was looking and it was 10 minutes to cut off, and we were 400 points above, and there was like 6 teams below us. So I was like,
brutal. And that just went.
I mean, I thought we were going to be okay, but oh well.
Unfortunate. And that's Planting's team as well. So the person who runs the competition is out of his own competition. Unfortunately.
I mean, it's gotten ruthless over the years because I remember the first time I did it, it was like you didn't even have to try for like the first 6 months.
Yeah, well, I think
it's serious now.
Really, Planting has been trying to kind of curate that so that the dropouts are actually fairly aggressive to ensure that the competition doesn't stagnate like that. So I remember it was 2 or 3 years ago. It was basically you didn't have to do anything for the first 6 to 9 months of the competition, and then it got hard. But yeah, it's actually been ramping up pretty quickly.
And I do like that. I mean, it was a lot more fun to play that way. But I mean, obviously, it's a lot harder to stay in too. So that's the end of us.
It happens. It happens. I haven't really had any chance to look at I've looked at my list. I like my list. I don't know. I didn't make my kind of tally sheet on what I'm going for. So there'll be that. I know State of Decay is on there. I mentioned I was going to play that. I got it back to Mass Effect this month. So I'll be around. I'll have a better idea later of what I'm going to be doing. So maybe I'll even add it to the end of the show. Who knows? Anything else? We good? Knobs and Discos time?
Sure. There's quite a few of them actually. We missed last week, so we've got a new Unobtainable and a new game that's come out. Reverie Under the Moonlight has a knob.
That game looked awesome. That Momodora, right?
Yeah, Momodora, that's right. And the actual achievement is called Reverie Under the Moonlight, and I think it's for. Let me just look it up. It is for completing all the other achievements, of course. It's one of those.
All those. They're always the worst.
It's the platinum achievement. Yeah, so that one's bugged. Not sure if there's any word from the developer on that. Discontinued. Suspected discontinued at any rate. I don't think it's been completely confirmed, but this is from Tron Runner. Is that a Windows 8 game?
No, that is an Xbox One.
That's an Xbox One. Okay, there's an achievement from the Outlands Pack DLC, which is to complete a weekly challenge, and I believe the weekly challenges are no longer being issued, so that one seems like it might be discontinued, but not 100% sure on that just yet, but that's one that is gone, perhaps.
We need to stop making those kind of achievements.
Yeah. Great Wobo Escape from Windows 8 and Windows Phone. There was an achievement in that, the Great Escape, which was an unattainable. That has now been fixed, but there are some notes about that in that if you install the updates that fix that particular achievement, you may lose your save file. There is a fix for that, though. I will put a reference to that in the show notes. Basically, it's just a method to back up your save file before you update and make sure it doesn't get wiped out. So thanks to Shadow Kusaragi for that tip. Rocket League, I think this was mentioned in the last episode, I believe. The Battle of Heroes works without the disc again. So that was that annoying one. There's an update for Kyub. K-Y-U-B. Cube. It was a title update that came out that actually has uncompletable levels. So there are knobs in that update. But the developer has acknowledged that, so we'll hopefully get fixed. And Age of Empires Castle Siege, the iOS version of that, all of the achievements in that are now completely discontinued. The reason for that is it's been merged with the Windows 10 version, so basically it's become a UWP version, which means that as soon as you update, there is no longer a separate list for iOS. On the other hand, you can get the Windows 10 version achievements with it now.
Yeah.
But, and I think they will cross-unlock. If you've already unlocked ones in the iOS version and then update, it will then cross-unlock. But there's no way back.
Yeah, that's one of those games that has the syncing work very well. Now, there is one more that I forgot to put in here. So I've been keeping an eye on Dead Rising 4 because I was going to start it this week, but then new DLC came out, so I have to wait to make sure nothing's broken because I don't think they're going to do any more updates at this point because they've fulfilled their season pass obligations and it flopped. So not holding my breath. But I did notice that on the Windows 10 version of the game that has 2 unobtainables, Master Journalist got a diamond, which means somebody unlocked it. Not on TA, but somebody unlocked it. So I don't think there's any way to cheat yet. So that may have been fixed, but I don't know. So it's possible.
Sounds like a challenge.
But
it's still
there's still one achievement in the Windows 10 version that is totally unobtainable, so you can't complete it anyway.
Bummer. Yeah, you know what happened to me this week? My phone decided to update its the firmware or whatever. It's on Marshmallow or whatever now. Anyway, so it went ahead and updated, which I have it set to auto update, so fine, whatever. It totally erased all of my login credentials and stuff for everything.
Wow. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, whatever, that's fine. So, tons and tons of games use the cloud saves and whatnot, so I just got to log in with Facebook or Google Play or whatever. And, it's annoying, but I can go back and do it. You know what game doesn't do that? Pokemon Shuffle. And so I have put a ton of time into that game, and it's a fun little match game that I like to play, and it's all locked to me. I log in, and it's like, oh, hey, you're a new user, or do you have a transfer code? Like, no, I don't have a transfer code because I can't get my save data. I literally, I can see it. Like, if I go into my app settings, I can see it says data and the cache and everything, and it's like, it's sitting there. My save game is sitting there, and I cannot access it. I'm so frustrated with that.
And Pac-Man Kart Rally, because I couldn't launch it, and I was pretty sure the save data was still there.
Yeah,
had to lose it.
Oh my god, I'm so pissed about that. I
hate that game. That's so bad. And I was half done.
What you could try is if you can get those files off the phone.
I tried.
This was
not you. I was talking to Free.
Me.
If you can get those files off the phone, you can run Android emulators, and you may be able to actually download a emulator with the older version of Android and that version of the game, and see if it'll recognize your files there
to make a transfer code. That's clever. That might work.
Yeah. So that's an option.
I reached out to the support team. Maybe they'll bring it up to them and say, "Hey, pretend like you're opening my game on something." Yeah, maybe we'll see. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You know what is our review segment? Let's get into that. Are we doing?
Whoa.
We're not doing a review segment anymore.
Yeah,
it's over.
Awkward.
Show's done.
it's a new show.
All right, well, let's get into zombie news real quick, and then we can talk about all the awesome contests we have going on. But zombie news, okay, so file this one under rumor mill. Resident Evil, of course, Capcom, we've talked about multiple times on the show, loves their re-releases. They just love them. That's their probably aside from Street Fighter, the number one revenue stream is to just re-release old games. Anyway, there has been Resident Evil Code Veronica that was originally a PlayStation 1, 2, I think 1. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was remade for the Xbox 360, kind of, right? I mean, yes, it was remade and given achievements and all that stuff. It looks still kind of gross, but it's playable and it's on the Xbox One. Okay, well, somebody has seen now a listing for Resident Evil Code Veronica in a German video games rating board for the PlayStation 4. Okay? Now so for them to do it on the PlayStation 4 is leading people to believe that, well, why would you just do that and not do it on the Xbox One? Okay, but so what does that mean? Does that mean they're porting the 360 version over and so we get the potato graphics, or does all of them get the kind of quick level of polish that we may have seen for, the original Resident Evil from the GameCube or Resident Evil 0? Who knows? We might be getting another pretty. It's not that pretty. It's just, airbrushed over. Anyway, there you go. Okay, contest time. New month. April is here. It's on us. By the time this comes out, you've got a very, very slim window to get all of your March achievements and things that you have in. So make sure you post those in the forums. Of course, you can post throughout the month, right? So if you start doing stuff for any of these, go ahead and start updating your lists, right? If you score some achievements in the Gamer Scorigors, which I will talk about, go ahead and post them. There's no reason to just sit on those. But before I get into all that, why don't we talk about the GTA SE, the Great True Achievement Score Challenge? Because we had, like I mentioned last week, because I recorded the intro after we were eliminated, not after the show was recorded. The nothing to see here but kitty games. The team of Planting, Crandy, Damien, and myself, we missed it by 150 TA. We just so close. We just missed it by that much. We were eliminated, but we weren't the only crew that got eliminated last week. The Enigma Poets were eliminated with our own Enigma Gamer on there. And the Sunday Brunch crew was eliminated with some other gamers that are very familiar with our community. Spanky and Spronkle, Mattism, and Akaraba. Those three poke around on the site quite a bit. So all of that, so what is that? 8 people who spend their time on the site eliminated. But you know what that does? It just opens us up for some more gaming, and we don't have to worry about those points so much. We can actually play things for fun. I know, it sounds crazy. Good luck to everybody that's still out there. We still have a decent amount of people out there. Of course, the Punching Kangaroos are still out there. Can't Quit Our Day Jobs. You guys are killing it. Fart Barf, I think, is still alive. Big Willie 4.0. That is Alex's team, is still in there. We and then Prue and Damien and Urban Tarragon, they're still in the individual, as far as I know. I haven't seen their things come by. I know there's a ton of you guys still in the individual, so keep that up. Keep up the good work. In terms of our other April contests. So, of course, we are doing the Gamer's Tag Challenge, and this month is Cerebral Assassin, and there is some leet speak in there. There's some numbers where there should be letters, so one of the E's is a 3 and the L is a 1. It's missing an S. Doesn't matter. Go onto our forums, forum.z2z.com. You can look up, see the post. It's a nice mix there. A lot of S's. There's plenty of S games out there, believe me. I've matched this up fairly well with my random to-do list. So Cerebral Assassin is the gamer tag for the month. Good luck on that one. Of course, your random to-do lists, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, mentioning it now, they are up. April's lists are here. I am quite happy with my list. I have marked 15 achievements that I think I'm going to go for. There is 2 of those 15 that it's like, ooh boy, that's a bit deeper into the game than I want to go. But aside from, of course, the achievement sponsor, which is right out of the list, we'll see. I'm really excited about this weekend. So much so that I've actually chronicled my month of timing on where I'm going to try and do all these achievements. To be honest, I'm not sure I have any time to do this, but it is what it is. We also got the Mokas Msurin's Overly Convoluted Achievement Spectacular for April. This one is called Chain Reaction. Clever, very clever. It requires you to unlock. So if you unlock an achievement that your first achievement can be anything, but whatever your first achievement ends in, let's say it ends in an N, then the next achievement in that chain needs to start with an N. Okay, and then it can be whatever. And whatever that second achievement ends in, your third achievement has to begin with. And you make a chain in that regard. So now, they don't have to be consecutive, right? So you can unlock 15 achievements, but only 2 of them link together. That's fine. That's okay. But your chain, the ones you are chaining, have to be in order. Like, you can't jump back ahead. So, for instance, I have 2 chains going right now, and we'll see what I end up unlocking next. That takes priority over it. But so in Zombie Vikings, I've been playing that. I unlocked Catch, starts with a C, ends in an H, and then the very next achievement was Home Gang, something like that. Anyway, starts with an H, ends in a G. So whenever, and I've scored like another 20 achievements since then, whenever I score my next G achievement, the one that starts with a G, that can continue this chain. In the meantime, I've been playing a lot of Nut Jitsu to try and get a random to-do list off of that one. And so I unlocked Ninja's Dozen, ends in an N, and my random to-do list, Nut Grabber. So if I unlock an achievement that starts with R, I'll continue that chain. So I'm just going to see where this thing plays out. Of course, if you spent some time and actually link these things together appropriately, boy, you can get this thing real long. So I'm doing mine casually. This contest for me, I'm treating casually. We'll see how long it goes. I'm not trying to do any specific achievements to carry this through. Maybe at the end of the month, if I've got time, I'll add on to it, but I'm excited about that, and we'll just see, because I have so much other gaming ahead of me, like even with the random to-do list, like I'm sure I'll be unlocking other achievements, and hopefully that plays out. The other contest that of course I need to explain a little bit is the monthly contest for April, and I'm calling it the Gamer Scoregories. And I've actually run this contest before. Those of you familiar at the Achievement Hounds, I've mentioned this on the show, I believe. I ran this contest with the Achievement Hounds long ago. I mean, this was back in 2012, mid-13, I don't know. Anyway, it was a while back. But the premise doesn't really change, and it was fun then, and it should be fun now. So I have a huge database of these random themes that I like to do achievement scavenger hunts. And I had done it for like a year and some change. Actually, 2 years almost. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was quite a long time, and I kind of ran out of gas on that one. But I still have all those themes, and so I want to use them. And so what I did is I randomly generated 12 different themes that I'm hoping don't cause me too much headache when I have to go back and look through this. But these themes, you need to unlock one achievement, unless otherwise stated, one achievement that fits the theme. So, for instance, the first theme is called Do You Like Pets? And it requires you to unlock an achievement that contains a pet name, a pet in it. And so, I've made some of the, some of the suggestions like dog, cat, fish, right? Those are some pretty easy, pets, right? We don't have to wax philosophical over what exactly is a pet on those. So some of them some people get creative, right? I was looking at one like for Monkey Island, and I'm like, people have pet monkeys. Do I want to open the door to that? We'll see. So if you're on the fence about if your thing is a pet or not, then we have to talk about it. The next one, Gearhead, simply unlock an achievement that contains a vehicle component. I give you some examples here, like wheel, gas, mirror. That one, you can stretch that one typically. I don't think any of them, and I don't think any of them are too convoluted. And if you do have any questions on clarifications, I know there's been already a lot of chatter on our forums, forum.z2z.com, just for me to clarify some things, because you don't want to do all this work and then make a submission that I have to look at and I'm like, oh my God, that wasn't even close. Like, I got to reject that one because it's garbage. So ask. Make sure you ask that we get it clarified. The point of this, right? How do you score points? Okay, how are you making this a competition? So of the 12, which actually, if you do all of them, because some of them have multi-parts, you can have up to 17 submissions through the 12 categories. Each category can, they all have to be from different games. Okay, that's important. All have to be, then whatever the gamer score is for that achievement is the gamer score you will be awarded in points. So, for instance, if you unlock an achievement that has the word dog in it, and it happens to be worth 100 gamer score, you would have 100 gamer score to your grand total. And so you go through and add all those up, and that is your grand total. Here's the kicker, right? You're going to submit these to me in a private message, because you don't want anyone else to see what you've unlocked. Like the game categories, if anyone who's ever played that, if you write down a word and somebody else writes down that word, you guys knock each other out. You get no points. You get nothing. I'm not that harsh in this because, there's some clever achievements. I'm just happy people are participating. So I'm not going to completely mark it 0, but I am going to have you share those points. So let's take that achievement I mentioned, the pet one, and you unlocked with a dog worth 100 gamer score. You submit that, you're thinking you got 100 points. Well, you forgot that Johnny down the street, he also unlocked it, and now you've both submitted that, and that 100 gamer score gets split into 2, and you both get 50 points. Or if it's a third one, you both get 33 points. Or if it's a fourth one, you both get 25 points, and you get the point. So the idea is big points. Hopefully no one else gets them, or go for some rare ones that you'll get to keep all those points, assuming, other people will pile on. I remember when I ran this the initial time, there was a theme called that needed an animal. And Scrabble had just come out, easy completion, and everybody, I think we had like 6 people unlock Sting Like a Bee for the Scrabble, and they had the bee, B-E-E was the animal, for 200 points. But of course, all 6 of them unlocked it, so boom, I had to cut that down. That's still a decent chunk of points, because I think the animal that I submitted was only like a 25-pointer because I couldn't go that deep into a game. So yeah, you play the odds. If you really want to get crazy competitive, which, let's say this springboards into a TA thing and you've got individuals out there who try to cheat the system, you guys can go and look at each other's lists and see what other people are unlocking, right? So if they unlock something with a woman's name in it, or, the word woman or queen or whatever, you say, oh, I bet he's going to submit that for the Gamer Scoregories. You know what? I'm going to go and block him and cut those points. That's a good achievement, worth 200. I'm going to go cut that. I'll take it, submit it as my own. I'll at least get half the points, but I can do it. Anyway, you guys can figure out strategy all you want. It's the month of April. Good luck on those. Like I said, if you have any questions on the validity of any of those achievements, or if you've started unlocking things and you want to run it by me, I'll start a database and start to chronicle whether or not to give it the thumbs up or thumbs down. And if it's one that you submitted that I feel you're just asking about, I'll keep it anonymous and just say, no, that one doesn't count, or yes, that does, you're good, unless it triggers me to think of a rule clarification. And then I will do my best to, maintain your anonymity on that one. So it was a lot of fun. Good luck to that one. I think there are going to be 2 prizes for this contest. There is a prize for the person who scores the most points, right? Top scorer, you get a prize. And we got some doozy prizes too. So I might bump this one up. We're also going to do a random draw for every submission. So if you, like I said, you can get up to 17 submissions. If you do the full card, you get 17 entries into a random draw for a $10 card. So, it's worth your time to even just submit a couple, because you get a few points and you get your name into the hat, and you can start messing other people up, right? Because if you unlock one of those achievements that someone has to cut with somebody else, then, well, you're in the game and you're messing other people up and stuff. So I will post the full leaderboard when it's all said and done, and you'll see where everybody landed, what everybody submitted. If you're curious, I totally plan on doing that, but there you have it. Gamer Scoregories. Should be super fun. And when you are, don't forget to post for all of our contests. That's the only way we can really keep track of it and make sure that we understand what you want to get in on. I've seen a lot of chatter from new people, which is awesome. Thank you so much for giving us a try. Hopefully this spurns your gaming into some new and awesome areas, or helps clean up a backlog, or whatever. If it's just something fun and different to do, whatever your motivation is, I hope you're enjoying these. And if you got any constructive criticism, feedback, is things you like, things you want to see again, if you want me to run something else again, let me know. Seriously, I'm a totally open book, and I'd love to hear from the community. And don't forget, we also have a bunch of LFG and boosting groups going on our Discord chat right now. So if you head over to Discord, discord.me/ZZ, that's all one word, ZZ, you can go there. We've got our main chat and all sorts of stuff, but we have a bunch of LFG groups based on regionality. So the Aussies, the Europe team, and the Americas. We've got stuff based on games. There's those of you trying to get together with the new last Age of Triumph Destiny. We have a Destiny group. We have an Overwatch group. Elite Dangerous is on. Anyway, there's a bunch of those as well. And then we have just general LFG. So if you just happen to be on and you say, hey, I want to trade wins in apples to apples. No, nobody wants to do that. But you could ask. Maybe somebody does. I think I'm 100 wins away. I might as well not finish that game because of the unobtainable. Anyway, I'll leave that up to you. That's going to do it for this show, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. It was awesome having Smrnov on. It was great conversations with everybody. We had a lot of fun recording it. If you are awesome listeners, would love to help us out, a rating and review on iTunes is a wonderful free way to help support the show. Let people know. Share it on social media, your Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Let others know about the show. We would so appreciate that. We love to grow this community and have more people to game and hunt achievements with, because the group we have right now, you guys are all awesome. And I'm sure there's some other fantastic people out there that we would love to game with. So, and there's so many ways you can actually you can reach us. So if you have any questions, anything you need to get in contact with, Twitter, one of the best ways, at ZZZEDTOZED. That's the show Twitter handle. All of the hosts will see that. Also, you can contact my personal Twitter if you're interested, at Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE. You can email the show, contact@ZZ.com. or send us private messages. You can get us through TrueAchievements.com. We tell you our gamer tags all the time. Even better, you can send us a private message on our forums, forum.zz.com, or Discord chat. We're there pretty much all the time, except when we're sleeping, and of course, I don't sleep that much. Discord.me/ZZ. That is a permanent link for you to get into our group. We would love to have you. I want to give a big thanks to all of the tools that help make this show a reality. Libsyn, Discord, Trello, Twitter, Discourse, Zencaster, Skype, and TrueAchievements.com for providing all of these tools for us to use. A quick shout out to all of the sites and games media that help drum up the news and stories that we like to talk about and reminisce. And of course, a huge thank you to our amazing community for all of the awesome feedback, and congrats on on just being so great to us. And of course, last but not least, Microsoft for giving us the Xbox console. So, on behalf of Smirnov, Randy, Damien, which he'll show up in the other show, Prue, Tarragon, this has been Brandon. And to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.